Tremendous Tuesday afternoon. How are you? And welcome to the Jason Gregor Show, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, Orders Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Of course, on Instagram as well. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Those who get us on the app, whether it's on Stingray's app, iHeartRadio, or the Radio Player app, wherever you are, take us with you. It's fantastic. We love it. So thanks for tuning in. I know we get texts every day, people walking. It's like, you know what? That's when I know you're diehard. You go out for a walk, you're relaxing, you put the app on your phone, got your earbuds in, and away you go. I like it. It's fantastic. So lots to discuss on today's show. The Edmonton Oilers, they're pretty good. If you didn't know, last night was an exclamation point on how good the Oilers are playing right now. 15-3-1 in their last 19 games. They've been the second best team in the league for a long time. Them and Vegas had the two best records. We'll talk about that. Of course, Mike Rupp will be by kicking things off. We got Kylie Quinn. Quick card, Edmonton Minor Hockey Week. How many of you have great memories as a kid still of playing in Edmonton Minor Hockey? Now, they didn't allow the outlying areas to play in it when I was a kid, so I never took part in it, but I see the excitement. I'm coaching it. The kids get all fired up. It's a great time. So looking forward to the puck dropping on that this weekend. So best of luck. Remember, keep calm. It's all for fun. Don't scream at refs. Please, for the love of everything, don't swear at referees. It's not, they're 12, 13, 14, 15. I don't care if they're 30. It's unnecessary in this. Also, Matt Savoie will join us. It was announced today he's been named to the American League All-Star team. Savoie's on a real heater here as of late, and he will join us in the 3 o'clock hour. Business of Sport, Rich Winter's back. We also have NHL agent, Zach Hyman's agent. Todd Reynolds will join us. We're going to discuss just, some of the nuances and changes. I'm curious, as an agent, when you see what's going on, and if one of your clients was Elias Pettersson or JT Miller, and, there's all these things public about, they don't get along. And the organization, I don't know if they've done a great job of trying to, squash those rumors at all. What would be the agent's role in that? So we'll talk to Todd about that. We got Spec. We'll continue our NFL previews. Susie Morgan will join us from Denver. Do they have a chance in Buffalo? No, I'll tell you right now. If they wear these they wore last shot. Otherwise, I don't know. All the power. That uni was unreal. Loved it. Last night in Boston, the Edmonton Oilers, that was a clinical game. They did not give up very much when they did. Stuart Skinner was great. The first breakaway save, shorthanded, and then the Oilers turn it right back up. McDavid scores a breakaway. It's 2-0 right there. That was basically good night, Irene, right there for the Oilers. Now, Boston did push in the third, and Stu Skinner played great, which I have a question, and I'm going to ask the people in the NHL because Stu Skinner isn't credited with the shutout last night because he had to leave for 5 minutes and 25 seconds after Nikita Zadorov plowed him over going to the net. It's a minor penalty. That's all it should have been. I had no problem with the play. It's a clear penalty, and away you go. During the 5 minutes that Skinner wasn't in goal, Calvin Pickard didn't face a shot. So Skinner stopped all the shots on goal in the game. But he doesn't get credit with the shutout. It's a shared shutout. So here would be my question. It's the final game of the regular season. You need a regulation win to get in the playoffs. It's 0-0 with 3 minutes left. Your team pulls the goalie. He's out of the net for 2.5 minutes. And let's say you score the winning goal. Does he get the shutout, or is that considered a shared shutout? Because if it isn't, then what's the difference? Calvin Pickard didn't make a save. Didn't face a shot. It's a small little thing, but I'm curious. I'm going to ask, actually, I sent an email to the NHL today. So I'd just be curious how that would be ruled. Would it be ruled a shared shutout because he wasn't in goal? I'm going to guess it would be. And it would be a unique one. But make no mistake, remember Philly and New York came down to the final game of the regular season. Now, they didn't need a regulation win. They just needed a win. And winning, you're in. And the Flyers ended up winning in a shootout of all things, and then they went all the way to the Stanley Cup final that season in 2010. So don't say it's not possible. That's pretty rare to have a 0-0 game. I understand that. But doesn't mean it's impossible. It's just highly unlikely. Either way, Stuart Skinner played very well. The Oilers played very well. And the Oilers, they got Pittsburgh tomorrow. And they have absolutely schooled the Penguins. Now, here's a perfect example of two ships passing in the night. So during the McDavid Draisaitl era, the Oilers are 9-5 and 2 against the Penguins. But they're 8-1 in the last 9. In the first 4 years, they only won 1 of 8 games. That's when Sidney Crosby and the Penguins, they were a cup contender. They won the cup in 16, McDavid's rookie year. They won the cup again in 17. They were still good in 18, 19. The Oilers only made the playoffs once of those 4 years. Then in 2020, things switched. And now the Oilers are the cup contending team, and the Penguins are just scratching to try to get into a wild card spot. That's where they're at. And if you look at the Penguins, if you go back over the last 6 years, they got the 14th best record. The last 5 years, they got the 15th best record. The last 4 years, they're 17th. The last 3 years, they're 21st. The last 2 years, they're 22nd. You catch my drift. They're going down. Whereas the Oilers, they were 7th, the 6th, now 5th over the last 2 years. So they're going up on the elevator and the escalator, and the Penguins are going down. And you saw Edmonton earlier this year against the Penguins on Hall of Fame night. They dominated them. They won 4-0. They've actually shut out the Pens in the last 2 games, both by scores of 4-0. So they go into Pittsburgh tomorrow, and they are clear favorite for me. Now, before you get nervous and you want to text in at 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440 in our EWEL inbox, and you're going to say, yeah, but Gregor, the Oilers, you know what, they play down to the competition too often. No, they don't. Stop it. Okay? I don't know why people keep repeating that, because it's not remotely true. The top 7 teams in the West, there's 7 teams in the West that have 50 points. Vegas, Dallas, Edmonton, LA, Colorado. Who else am I missing? Vegas, LA, Edmonton, and then Minnesota, Dallas, Colorado, and Winnipeg. They all have 50-plus points. You know who has the second best record against non-playoff teams? The Oilers. They're 18-5. Only Vegas is better at 19-2-1. That's it. So don't repeat it. Don't let any of your friends repeat it. It's hogwash. The Oilers, yes, nobody beats them every game. But Edmonton wins a vast majority of their games against the non-playoff teams. Right? They had the 2-goal lead in Anaheim. They didn't play well. They knew it. Whatever. Right? No one's going to be perfect. But the Oilers are very good against the non-playoff teams. So Pittsburgh and Chicago, those are 2 games. Not guaranteed wins, but Edmonton is taking care of business. And Pittsburgh has been an awful matchup. Well, the Oilers have been an awful matchup for the Penguins. Pittsburgh's been a dream matchup for the Oilers. And I don't really see it changing. They don't have the speed. They don't have the skill. They don't have the depth. And if Edmonton comes to play like they did yesterday, then I see another win coming for the Edmonton Oilers, because yesterday, very good performance. Adam Henrique, 2 really nice goals. Right? Quick, hard release, and no chance on either one by the goaltender. I really liked every part of the game. I thought Brett Kulak last night was unreal in that game. How many times did a guy come out on the rush and Kulak just thwarted? Kulak just, here you go, I'll skate beside you, just steer you into the corner, and like nothing happened. Nothing. He thwarted so many rushes. I thought maybe his best offensive game, Connor Halley, last night. I thought Kulak was excellent.
Yeah, I mean, he's been good all year, hasn't he? I think, when given the opportunity and counted on, he's been out someone you can rely on for this team. I've said playoff Kulak. Maybe that's creeping into regular season Kulak, but who stood out poorly last night? I thought the Edmonton Oilers had a very good game. Bouchard had a few whoops, leading to breakaways the other way, but you're a hockey team. Stuart Skinner bails you out. I thought it was a good performance by the Oilers in general.
Oh, yeah, there was every element. Your goalie, when you needed him, made some big saves. Their power play scored a goal. Their penalty kill didn't allow a goal. Their bottom 6 scores 2 goals, 5-on-5. The only thing I was a little now, and I get it though, but I thought for a moment that Arvidsson might pass it to Draisaitl and let Draisaitl give it back so he could extend his point streak. But that didn't happen with the empty net. But either way, last night you're an Oilers fan watching that game. I don't know if you were ever nervous. Maybe the shorthanded breakaway for that 2 seconds. And that went away quickly because they scored right away. That was an outstanding performance by the Oilers. So we'll talk all things NHL with Mike Rupp next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. And guys text in, hey, Gregor, Pickard, because he actually stepped on the ice, he gets an appearance. So if you pull your goalie and it was a shutout, then he wouldn't get, it would not be shared because there was no other goalie of record. And I get it. It makes sense. And yes, Pickard was on the ice, but he'll get an appearance, but he has no statistics, right? No shots, no saves, nothing. Just gets a shared shutout. It's a weird rule. That's all. It's not the end of the world. It's just odd. Quick break. We'll come back with Rupper next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta? New players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet every week all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Is it Riverside Motorsports? No. It's Riverside Motorsports. Over 55 years in business, and people still get it wrong. Guess it's time to get it right.
Riverside Motorsports. What you do for fun is our business.
It's Customer Appreciation Day at Vitality Health Foods. Take 25% off select NACA products like NACA Platinum Nattokinase for heart health, NACA Nutri Probiotic for digestion, and the antioxidant NACA Platinum Quercetin. Customer Appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of each month. Visit vitalityhealthfoods.ca.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at Cantork.com.
It's your last chance to shop Boxing Day deals at the Brick. Start the new year off right and save up to 40% off mattresses, up to $960 off sectionals, up to $600 off big screen TVs, and up to $300 off select kitchen appliances when you buy 3 or more. Plus, pick up a queen spring wall Euro top for the price of a twin. Some exclusions apply. See thebrick.com for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients. Better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients. Better pizza. Papa John's. That's SPORTS20.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
When interest rates are low, that's a good time to buy a vehicle. And 0% means it's a great time to buy. Right now, St. Albert Dodge can set you up with 0% financing on hundreds of vehicles. Virtually all new 2024 models. Jeep Compass, Wrangler, Grand Cherokee, and Wagoneer. 0%. Dodge Durango and Hornet. 0%. Ram 1500, 2500, and 3500 trucks, all as low as 0%. Why pay interest? Head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
What have we done with innocence?
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Get the Slap Shot Special. Add a 2-liter Pepsi product to a large 1-topping pizza and garlic Parmesan breadsticks and bundle it for only $25.99. Use promo code HOCKEY24 at papajohns.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show. The best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back. Lovely Tuesday afternoon. Feels like springtime out there today. +4 or 5. Load up on the windshield wiper fluid. I'll tell you that. Going through that like it's like a Friday night at On the Rocks. Happy hour. Kind of how quickly going through that. Let's go around the NHL. Brought to you by McDonald's as they kick off their showdown roster, McDavid and Matthews. And right now, you can get, for a limited time, the hat trick. It's a triple cheeseburger, or the Big Mac David, the double Big Mac. Can also try out the new Power Play Poutine, gravy cheese curds, maple drizzle, and crispy hickory bacon, top of their world famous fries right now at McDonald's. As we welcome in from the NHL Network, Stanley Cup winner, also color analyst for the Pittsburgh Penguins, where the Oilers will be tomorrow night. Mike Rupp joins us. Rupper, how you doing, my man?
I'm good, Greg. It's been a little while, buddy. How are you?
Yeah, I know. It's good. We've had Wednesdays just happen to be Christmas and New Year. So, yeah, it's been a few weeks. Things are good. It's beautiful weather here. And Oiler fans are excited because they're going into Pittsburgh, where they have absolutely mauled the Penguins the last 7 games, 7-0, and they've outscored them 37-9. Rupper, why do the Penguins have no answer for the Oilers all of a sudden?
Well, I mean, the Penguins... they have been playing better in the last probably month.
Yeah.
But they haven't had many answers for many teams. I think the Oilers over that time, the Penguins have theoretically, I mean, they've been a slower team. They've been an older team. And I think there's just certain teams that give them a hard time. It's usually teams that are quick on pucks, make you make quick decisions. They play at a different pace. And I feel like that's the Oilers, and obviously it is with Connor McDavid and him having kind of his way is as far as having points and production and it's just not a good matchup for them. So yeah, it's one that I think all the time you're sitting there, you're looking. I think Sidney Crosby is looking at it, and he wants to get up for those games, and he's been good in the games, but the team doesn't get the results, and I think that probably drives him nuts.
Oh, I would think so. And it's really, to me, I look at it, when McDavid came into the league, the Penguins were a Stanley Cup winner. And the first 4 years, they owned the Oilers. Edmonton only won 1 of 8 games. And now the Oilers are a Stanley Cup contender, and the Penguins are kind of holding out for the last few years of Crosby's career and just trying to, they're in the race in the East right now. There's lots of teams in there. They're probably pretty annoyed, I would think, of giving up that lead to Columbus last night.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big game. I mean, it was a big game because Columbus, I think, is surprising a lot of people. Pittsburgh is kind of worked their way, like I mentioned, playing better hockey into a better position, but they still have played more games than a lot of teams that they're kind of in competition with for a wild card spot. And Columbus is one of those teams. And you look at last night's games, I mean, just even that Detroit and Ottawa game, you had the Penguins in Columbus. It's the teams that are going to be going head to head for some spots here, or for a spot in the playoffs. And I think the big thing is for this Penguins team is, again, we've talked about it here. Last night, Columbus scored on the first shot. This is the 8th time this year. 8th time that a team has scored on their first shot against the Penguins this year. And 6 of those are with Tristan Jarry in net, and that's tied for San Jose.
Yeah.
And San Jose's got 8 also. That's a mind-blowing stat for me. I'm actually surprised that San Jose's got the same numbers, because it seems so crazy that you can't get past that first shot on goal. But, the Penguins find themselves, and the biggest thing is that they'll get leads. I mean, they haven't had a hard time, I feel like, this year getting leads. The problem is holding on to those leads, and that's something that's certainly come and bit this team many times.
If Jenny Malkin, is he going to play tomorrow?
Yeah, really weird one yesterday. I haven't really heard much. That one surprised me when it was announced that no Evgeny Malkin out there to start that game last night. So I haven't heard anything. I actually am at the network here today. I haven't seen anything come across. Maybe you have on any updates on that today. So unaware of what the situation is with Evgeny Malkin, but he's been one that's kind of been struggling in some ways as of late. He started the season on fire, and I mean I got nothing. I don't know if it's just a day-to-day type thing or if it's anything longer term.
Okay. Mike Rupp joins us now. Rupper, did I was watching the video, and you're doing the interview with Gary Bettman. I know you guys were struggling hearing, and so you lifted his earpiece off his ear, and just kind of like, hey, you don't take it off, and then you'll hear better. And then he put it back on. I was dying laughing. Did you guys chuckle with that one off camera afterwards, or is Gary pretty serious as always?
You know what's really funny with the commissioner is when you get him. I mean, I think he's starting to show it more in the last couple of years on air, but even off air, pretty witty. Like, he's pretty funny. Like the stuff that he'll say and do. I know. So Jason Demers was on. He was to my right, and Gary was to my left, and we were having a heck of issues with our headsets, and there was a lot of lip reading that you had to do, and it was a grind. I'll be honest with you. It was sideways rain in Chicago, and so right before we're getting on, I'm thinking, like, I'm not sure Gary knows if we don't have any communication through the headsets, so I removed it from his ear to say, hey, I don't know if you're going to want to do this because we have to. These aren't working. And I don't know if he didn't hear me. I didn't know, or maybe he didn't want me touching his headset. But he kind of just grabbed it and then just put it back over his ear. I'm like, all right. And so we didn't joke around about it because he had to go off and had some other duties. Obviously, he had to do that day. But yeah, listen, this is he's funny. I'd love to joke around with him about it later. But I think that's the one thing. He's actually starting to show, I think, people more and more that he's got a personality, and Jason Demers loved that, though. He's like, oh, you got slammed by the commissioner right there. I'm like, right. I was just trying to help out.
I thought you were too, being a good guy, and there's no welcoming from it. Rupper, one of your former teams, man, it has been a slog. They were the worst team in the NHL for a 25-game span. They went 17 and 8 and 17 or 7 and 18. Either way, the New York Rangers. But despite being that awful, they're not like they're 4 points behind Columbus. Now there's a boatload of teams, Ottawa, Montreal, Detroit, everybody in there. When you look at the Rangers, man, they have a 3-0 lead last night, and they can't hold the lead. Like, are the Rangers just not that good? Is there that much, that many players upset? What are you hearing? What are you seeing around the Rangers?
Well, I think there was a time, and again, I'm very obvious I'm not inside that room, but there was a time where I think the off-ice stuff was a real factor. And I don't know to what level it is now, but maybe the damage has been done as far as this team. They've lost confidence. They've lost structure. It's crazy the things that are going on. I mean, even to the degree I'm watching during the game, I don't know if you caught that, where you had the one goal where who was it? It was Will Borgen broke his stick, and literally 39 seconds of D-zone coverage went by without anybody even trying to give him a stick, forward trying to give him a stick. And finally, I think Phil Peedle ends up giving it to him, and then like 1 second later, there's a goal. And you can listen, sometimes that happens. Sometimes you don't get an opportunity, but that long of a shift, they're not even seeing someone like looking his way and looking, their details, Greg's like, that's the thing that gets me. It's mentally, they seem so checked out.
Yeah.
I mean, even in the OT winner, Jamie Benn, and I get it, Jamie Benn. I love this part about him. He's a bully on the ice. He likes to be mean. I love that. You need that in the playoffs. But like he almost just picks Adam Fox up and just throws him 5 feet, turns around and gets a tap in. Like, they're so disengaged on a night-to-night basis right now, and they're making these mental errors. I don't know where they go from here. I still have to think that they find a way to eke into the playoffs, but I don't know. I mean, the way it's going right now, maybe they don't even do that.
Yeah, well, it's going to be, it's tough. You look at all those teams, like Boston's not safe either. I watched the Bruins last night. They don't wow me at all. Like, Edmonton completely controlled that game from start to finish. And you mentioned the Penguins, not a quick team. I don't think the Bruins are an overly quick team. Obviously, they miss Hampus Lindholm desperately, but I don't love their forward group. They're minus 24 goal against ratio. Like, when they get blown out, they get blown out, and it happens quite often. So, I think there's 5 teams in the East, and then there's 6. Tampa, I have no problem with Tampa, but Boston, then the 2 wild card spots are, I think, going to be interesting races to see. of Boston, Columbus, Pittsburgh, Ottawa, Montreal, Detroit, Philly, and the Rangers. If you had to pick two, which two are you most confident that will take those two wildcard spots?
So we're figuring Tampa finishing top 3 in the Atlantic, and then Boston dropping. All right,
yeah.
I would say, oh man, the most confident.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Boston will find their way to a wild card, and I'm really struggling between Ottawa and the Rangers.
Okay.
I'm going to have to go with the Rangers, although he's not back yet. I think Igor could steal them some games. I just think that it can't get any worse right now. Maybe it can. I mean, I've said that a few times, and it seems to be getting worse. It doesn't seem like it getting any worse. They have to be getting better. I think the Rangers end up finding their way in.
Okay. Ooh. Yeah. Well, it's hard to count them out, but I say I didn't have Boston at the start of the year, and after what I've seen them now halfway through the year, I'm not picking them to make it. So I'll go with Ottawa. Ottawa made it through that 9-game road trip. They got 500, which is a win for them. They played some pretty tough teams on that trip and managed to go 4-4-1. And if they can now, of course, the wild card for them is their goaltender. And how long he is out, they're saying weeks, so that's obviously not good. But, Forsberg's going to have to play well for them to have a chance. In the West, Rupper, I think the West is where most of the best teams in the NHL are, to be honest. Winnipeg, Vegas, Edmonton, hell, LA's playing great. Minnesota hasn't fallen off, although that Brock Faber injury is something to follow tomorrow. And the Dallas Stars seem to be waking up finally, and they've won 5 in a row. You look at the West, and you played in the playoffs, and I've been crunching down numbers and stuff. How much importance would you put on home ice between all of those teams right now? And not that you're going to go crazy and play like your top guys 30 minutes a game or anything like that, but between all of those teams, how important do you think home ice is going to be in the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's big. I think I've always thought it's big, and I know the numbers probably have changed over the years, and it doesn't have or seem to play as much significance as it once did. But for me, when I played, like you needed home ice. I mean, I'll say this: if you don't any situation you're in, you try to grab or look at it as the glass half full as a player. So I'd sit there if our team didn't have home ice advantage in a playoff round, I'd be like, "Ooh, I love this because we start on the road. There's zero pressure. All we got to do is steal one of these games." But of course, you want it. You want it for that game 7, and that doesn't guarantee anything. Again, I don't know what the numbers are in it. I don't know in sports how much that still plays into it. I mean, that's a whole nother conversation. I think it's because these venues are so nice and teams are so almost pampered on the road now. And it once was not like that at all. You have freezing cold locker rooms, and you had certain situations where the amenities weren't good. And maybe that wore on teams, but it doesn't seem like that's the case now. But I think it's big. I think it's huge. I have to think that since Vegas has come into the league, their home ice is generally a real strength for them. So if it's a team like that, I think you're all over that. Like, yeah, it's important, and you need that, and you want that, and you want to set everything up in your power to situate it any kind of favor you can get. And home ice to me still matters. I'd be all over trying to chase that down and get a top seed.
Rupper, as always, my man, great to catch up with you. Have an awesome day. We will chat with you next Wednesday.
Awesome. Thanks, Greg.
There you go. That's Mike Rupp from the NHL Network, also a color analyst for the Pittsburgh Penguins. So we won't know about Malkin, I guess, until tomorrow. I haven't seen anything updating his status. So I guess he's a question mark tomorrow for the order game against the Penguins. The Oilers did not practice today. They traveled to Pittsburgh after the game last night and will be enjoying a day off. They'll have a full morning skate tomorrow and then take on the Penguins. I would assume you're going to see Skinner tomorrow and then likely Calvin Pickard in Chicago on Saturday. That's what I would do. Skinner played great last night. I'm going back to him right after that shutout. No reason not to. And then you get Pickard the Chicago game. And then you have Skinner will play Monday against LA, and then they'll split the back-to-backs Wednesday and Thursday next week in Minnesota and Colorado. And we'll see. You might go Skinner against Mini, and then Pickard against his former team. Coaches always look for that stuff. And sometimes they'll talk to guys, right? Like, which one, do you like? And I know, having spoke to Skinner before, he likes playing. So if he plays Monday, he'd rather play Wednesday than Thursday if there was a choice. Regardless of opponent, that's what he would do. But we'll see. Now, who was in net when they spanked Minnesota 7-1? Was it Pickard? Because that might play a factor. Who knows? But either way, the Oilers are playing quite well right now, and obviously have been for a while. 15-3-1 in their last 16, 19 games. In their last 26 for the last 2 months, if you go back 2 months from today, they are 19-5-2. 26-game stretch. And remember last year, the Oilers had a really good run. They won 24 games in a 27-game stretch, right? They won 8, lost 3, won 16. And, I didn't think they would go like that again. Winning 16 is really hard to do. But you look at Edmonton, and I won't be surprised here in a 30-game span that they got 22 victories, maybe 23. So it's pretty impressive run that they're on right now. Hey, boys, you know how many games the Oilers have allowed to go on the first shot? I do not. I think it's 3 or 4, right? It's a good stat. I'd like to go around the league and see. I think sometimes something happens to your team and you don't realize how often it happens to other teams. Right? It's like when, Oilers lose a game to a bad team. Oh my God, they're terrible. They never focus. It's like, no, the Oilers are really good against non-playoff teams this year. They're 18-5. Only Vegas amongst those top 7 teams in the West has a better record, and obviously none of the bottom teams do. So you look at the Oilers 18-5, Vegas 19-2-1. They've been pretty solid. So you got Pittsburgh, and then you got Chicago before they play a stretch of 6 straight games against playoff teams. And against playoff teams, no one really has a dominant record against a playoff team. It's just hard. Right? Winnipeg actually has the best amongst those top 7 teams. They are 11-7-1, I think it is, for the Jets. It might be 11-7-1. So Edmonton has that 6 games starting on Monday. They play LA, then they play Mini, then they play Colorado, then they play Vancouver, then they play Washington at home and Vancouver again. So 6 straight against teams currently in a playoff spot. So it's a good test for yourselves when they do it. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey, Gregor, do you think Bowman's going to rescue Bo Byram out of Buffalo? I don't see any path where they could re-sign Bo Byram. So I don't know if Edmonton wants to give up a first for your pure rental, right? Like they gave up a first for Adam Henrique, and they got 2 players, but then they were Sam Carrick, and then they re-signed Adam Henrique. You don't have an issue doing it then. I don't know if you just you gave up first for Ekholm, and you've had him now for you're going to have him for 4 years. To me, giving up a first for a rental for 2 months, you can do it. Teams have done it. It's not the end of the world, but I would always, if I had my druthers, I would try to avoid that if I can. Now, Edmonton is close. Their team is really good. And if they strongly believe that one other guy, and you have to give up a first to do it, and they might not re-sign him looking at the tea leaves and contracts, everything else, okay, I think they'd roll the dice because I think they're that close. I think we've seen it. So we'll see. Hey, Gregor, Byron's an RFA. Yeah, I know what Byron's contract is, his status. He's an RFA, but I don't see how they can afford him contract-wise. Like, which defenseman are the Oilers getting rid of to free up them? Bo Byram's going to command $5+ million. So that's what I mean. It's not that you would want Bo Byram on your team. I love him as a player. I've loved him ever since he was a rookie in the WHL. Really good player. But, what is he making? 3.8 now? Like, what's his next deal going to be? 5? Probably. Edmonton just doesn't have, they don't have money to add another $5 million defenseman. Evan Bouchard's getting a raise. Now, it's not going to be the $10 million that some people were calling for last summer, which is why I said, do not sign Evan Bouchard last summer because you're paying at the peak, at the absolute peak. He's still going to get a big raise, don't get me wrong, but it ain't going to be $10 million. And, well, depending on how the rest of the season goes for Bouchard, it was going to be virtually impossible for him to match last season. He had 82 points. And then he went nuclear in the playoffs. Set an NHL record. Right? Awesome. Good news for Edmonton. He had 1 year left in his contract because timing is a lot when it comes to negotiating contract. It just is. And so, 40-point player jumps up to an 82-point player. Now he's on pace to be a 60-point guy this year. Maybe not even that right now. Now, he's got half of a season to go. He could easily go on an offensive heater. I don't have any doubt about that. But Evan Bouchard right now is not a guy who's, he's got 30 points. Yeah, he's on pace for 60, 61. So it's a good number. Don't get me wrong, but it ain't 82. And his overall play right now, Bouchard looks to me like a guy who's lacking in confidence because he doesn't really give the puck up a lot. He'll make bad, it used to be that his big errors were on the bad reads. Lately, it's been his puck moving, which I still believe that's the easiest thing to fix for him. Bouchard didn't suddenly lose his skill and his ability to move the puck. But it clearly looks like he's a guy who's lost a little bit of mojo right now. And it's not hurting the Oilers. And I know this is going to sound really odd, but in a regular season, if the Oilers can have Kulak and Nurse play as great as they're playing, and Bouchard plays well, but not elite, all it does is help you in the negotiation this coming summer. That's a benefit. No question. Quick break. We'll come back and talk about a huge tourney with some great memories next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
It's Customer Appreciation Day at Vitality Health Foods. Take 25% off select NACA products like NACA Platinum Nattokinase for heart health, NACA Nutri Probiotic for digestion, and the antioxidant NACA Platinum Quercetin. Customer Appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of each month. Visit vitalityhealthfoods.ca.
Mr. Reuter makes a prank phone call.
It's ringing.
Hello?
Hello there. Is your faucet running?
Yeah, actually it is. I have this really annoying drip.
Oh, you'll want to check for mineral up or corrosion. Otherwise, it's likely an defective gasket or O-ring. I got him good.
Mr. Reuter, you're the worst at this.
For lousy punchlines and immaculate water lines, trust one plumber, Mr. Reuter.
At Hughes, it's all about getting in and out quick and clean. No cash, no problem. With Hughes' new tap and wash system, all you need is your debit or credit card to get your vehicle sparkling clean.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
We've been warning Edmontonians on the hazards of our stormwater facilities. While they may appear to look like still ponds, there is moving water beneath the surface, which makes the ice dangerously. The unpredictability of stormwater facilities makes them treacherously unsafe for all winter activities, even walking. So think twice. Don't go on the ice. A safety message from EPCOR.
You don't know what awaits you on the road to come, but with the 2025 XC90 from Volvo of Edmonton, you'll have the versatility to take on whatever life throws at you. The new XC90, a luxurious SUV with seating for up to 7, boasts newly upgraded body and wheel design. It's the perfect choice to drive into the coming year. And right now, you'll save $4,500 and lease from 1.49% on all in-stock 2025 XC90s. Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, 1205 101 Street Southwest.
When picking a New Year's resolution, try to avoid things you have no influence over.
Like bringing home the cup? That would be awesome.
But completely outside your control. Instead, pick something you can control, like bringing home some Wilhock beef jerky.
That would also be awesome. But what if we brought the cup home to Canada and it was filled with Wilhock beef jerky?
Okay, I'll allow it.
Wilhock beef jerky, only available in Leduc. Get yours today, because you don't win cups with salad.
We believe that great projects start from the ground up. Well, to be accurate, great projects start from the underground up. We're GS Construction, and from pipes to drainage systems, we're always laying the groundwork for a better future for Edmonton. While the month of January may be slow for some, GS Construction is gearing up for a busy year ahead, preparing to build, repair, and replace tons of infrastructure to keep your systems running smoothly. To find out more, including new job opportunities, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Start your weekend off right with WHL Hockey and Ice District. Family fun that's second to none, starting at just $20 a seat.
This Friday night, your Edmonton Oil Kings go toe-to-toe with Eastern Conference rivals, the Prince Albert Raiders.
Plus, at every home game, score Calmont Kids food combos for $10 or less. The value is king-sized.
It's junior hockey at its finest at Rogers Place and score family fun that's second to none.
Edmonton Oil Kings, Prince Albert Raiders, this Friday night at 7.
Great family entertainment at Rogers Place starts at just $20 a seat. Save on day of game pricing now at oilkings.ca.
You know, this year I can't decide what to work on for my New Year's resolution. See my confidence, my appearance, or my general happiness.
Why not improve all three by finally addressing your hair loss? Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. Receding hairlines and bald spots can chip away at your self-image, make you look older, and feel unattractive. Let's discuss your options for regaining a full natural head of hair and make this the year you get your mojo back. Book a free first consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
Cold, icy mornings, frozen windshield, snow in the forecast, and your vehicle won't start. You know what that means, Alberta. Winter is here. Don't get left out of the cold. Head to Napa Auto Parts today to gear up for the frosty months ahead. Winter won't wait, and neither should you. From premium batteries, starters, and alternators to high-quality wiper blades, antifreeze, and snow brushes, Napa Auto Parts has everything you need to get your vehicle winter ready and running. With over 85 locations in Alberta, stop into your local Napa store or visit napacanada.com for all your trusted parts, tools, equipment, and automotive needs. That's Napa know-how.
Could your school, charity, or community group use financial support with the capital project? Maybe Vision Credit Union can lend a helping hand. Vision proudly offers helping hand grants of up to $10,000 to qualifying organizations for capital projects that benefit our branch communities. Apply by January 31st, 2025 for a chance to qualify. Helping Hand grants up to $10,000 from Vision Credit Union. Learn more at whatsyourshare.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by eWell. eWell.ca is your Power Play partner with a new website that puts the power in your hand to 24/7 ordering and shipping within Edmonton and across Alberta. Score an account today at ewell.ca.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Oh, Khan's going into one of his favorite boy bands today. Whew, like it. Oh, classic. The best is there's lots of guys that didn't like the boy bands, but they knew all the words to the songs. Well, because you heard them all the time, right? Back the old club days. What could you do? It's just how it was. Now, let's go in the room, brought to you by Action Electrical, where right now building owners can earn a refundable federal tax rebate up to 30% off solar projects' capital costs. So it's called the ITC. To learn how to use it, how to activate it, go to actionelectrical.net, and they can help you out. Starting later this week in 2 days, it is the Quick Card Edmonton Minor Hockey Week. It's a massive event with I don't even know how many teams there are this year. I think there's like 10,000 players, if I'm not mistaken, which is fantastic. I just looked it up. 688 teams will be participating from U9 to U18 divisions, 24 different arenas. There's going to be a total of 914 games. Fantastic. And to talk all about it, we are joined now by Kylie Quinn, Marketing Communications Director of Quick Card Edmonton Minor Hockey Week. And, of course, she's also the director at Hockey Edmonton. Kylie, how you doing?
Hi, Jason. I'm doing well. It's been a crazy day already, and it's going to get even crazier. We've got our opening ceremonies tonight.
Where's the opening ceremonies at?
So we are so excited. It's at the Oil Kings game, which is the first time we're doing something like this. As you know, we used to do the old media versus Oilers alumni game. So this is something different for hockey fans. They get to come out, enjoy the Oil Kings game tonight, 7 p.m. against the Saskatoon Blades. And we've got some really cool prizes for all of our players that are showing up. So it's going to be fun.
Oh, that'd be great. Now, 10,000 players are participating in the Edmonton Minor Hockey Week this year, which is fantastic. Over 900 teams. And, there's tons. I want to talk about the volunteers for a second, because I don't think they get enough love for all of the amount of work that goes into it. And how many volunteers are there that just allow this event to go on here for the next few weeks?
There are thousands of volunteers. I don't know if I could put an exact number on it, but there are people at every arena around the city, in the outskirts. It's an army of people putting this thing on.
And also now this year, you're going to have the U9 pond hockey extravaganza that's going out at Cattail Crossing, which is a fantastic venue, by the way. They got the outdoor golf there and everything. Now, is this the first year you've done the outdoor pond hockey extravaganza as part of Minor Hockey Week?
Yeah, this is the first time we're doing this specific event. U9s are always a part of Minor Hockey Week, but this time we're doing the outdoor pond hockey extravaganza. So if you've been there during the winter, you would know the pond hockey, the ice surface there is so cool. You have to skate on paths to get to each rink. It's just going to be so much fun for those little guys. So really looking forward to that. They've got outdoor fire pits, winter mini golf. It's just going to be a hoot.
So every team at U9 is guaranteed at least one game out there. Is that how it works?
Yes.
Okay.
So
Okay.
ton of fun, and it's going to be great weather this weekend too. Almost too good.
No, you're right. Trust me, I played the outdoor game. You want it to be nice, but not too nice because then it's a little slushy. But the good news is the U9s don't weigh enough. They're not gonna cut up the ice as much as others. We have so many texters and listeners who talk about their memories from Edmonton Minor Hockey Week and what makes it special over the time. Like, it is a big deal. What have you done in your time, Kylie, that you know? What are some of the small little things that you're always looking at to improve it, or does it really need any improvement? Is it just we just like status quo sometime because we know everybody knows what to expect?
Well, I think doing things like our opening ceremonies with the Oil Kings, you get to go to a WHL game, pretty awesome. This pond hockey extravaganza, new, but we're always open to new ideas. This event has been going on for 61 years. So, of course, there's aspects of it that are great. You want to carry that on and keep that tradition. But sometimes you got to change with the time. So another thing, for example, this year, it's going to sound so funny to you, Jason, but we're doing electronic game sheets. It's not by hand. Some of the sticklers with Minor Hockey Week have been very adamant that we have the old game sheets the way they did it back in the day. So it's your first time ever adding the technology of electronic game sheets. So,
jeez, wow, yeah. Was something there was just something about that was cool. I remember coaches used to get, when I played, they used to hand out the game sheet at the end of the game. There was a copy for each team, right? And then some coach, you'd go in the room and they would hand their own. Guys would go around and they'd see, whatever. And obviously now it's electronic and kids can go online. And so they're obviously a lot more tech savvy. If they really want to see the game sheet, they can see it online. But that is a pretty big change. Like, I'm surprised, actually, to be honest, that it didn't, it's taken till 2025 to go electronic full time, because obviously all the regular season games are electronic.
yes, but there are some sticklers. They've been volunteering with the event since back in the day. And so it's been a little bit of push and pull to do that, but we're excited. It'll be easier for everyone.
Yeah, it totally would be easier, and it makes sense. Now, is there like a Edmonton Minor Hockey Week, like is the 50-50 every day, or is it billed throughout the tournament? How does that work?
So builds all throughout the tournament. We get pretty darn close to that max, which is 10 grand. So you can win 10 grand with our 50-50. All the proceeds from that go back into this event. So Hockey Edmonton is a not-for-profit organization. We're not making a penny off this event. Every single button admission that we sell, 50-50, you name it, goes back into making this event possible. So buy those 50-50s and you could win 10 grand. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Kylie Quinn joins us from Edmonton Minor Hockey Week. Opening ceremonies tonight at the Oil Kings game. And then the first game is the first game tomorrow or Friday?
Friday.
Friday.
The countdown is on. Yep.
Countdown is on. Also this year, everybody, it's a $5 admission that gets you a button, and that gets you into any games for the entire time. For any parents out there, you get your button at whatever arena you're playing at. It also gets you this year complimentary coffee at McDonald's. Free skate sharpening, one of them during the tournament at United Cycle, who's a big partner of this. There's also the Wayne Gretzky Scholarship Awards. Is that now that gets announced during Edmonton Minor Hockey Week, correct?
Yeah, so we actually announced our 3 winners today. So every year we award a player from EFHL, which is the federation, from hockey, and then someone from junior. So that was announced today, and it's a really nice way to reward players not only for their accomplishments on the ice, but also what they're doing in the community. So it's so important that you're building character that you're going to take even after those days of hockey are done. You might not be a hockey player forever. You might have to hang up the skates, so to speak, but hopefully you're always a good person, right? So we want to really showcase the efforts of our players that are trying to make a difference even at this young age. And the Wayne Gretzky Award is what we do.
So for these scholarships, how can someone apply for it? And do you have to be at least like in high school age, or is it anybody in junior high or even elementary for kids who are U13? Can they apply? How does it work?
Yeah, so the last couple of years we have done U15 up to junior. If you're playing junior, you're eligible. And it's anybody who's in EFHL, the federation, if you're playing elite hockey, so the club hockey here in Edmonton, or junior. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
that typically opens in December. So you just check out playhockeyedmonton.ca and you can apply next year.
Well, Kylie, thanks for joining us. Enjoy the opening ceremonies tonight. There'll probably be a ton of kids at the game and with their teams. So hopefully there'll be a good win for the Oil Kings. And we look forward to lots of excitement and lots of fun. And a reminder for everybody, no yelling at the refs. You should never do it, but definitely not here in Edmonton Minor.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for the reminder about the refs. Be kind to the refs, people.
That's it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Kylie.
Bye.
That's Kylie Quinn from Hockey Edmonton, and of course also part of Edmonton Minor Hockey Week. So that's pretty cool for the U9 kids out at Cattail, because if you haven't been to Cattail, their outdoor facilities are amazing, right? The night golf, which of course there's lots of it in wintertime. It's fun. It's loads of fun. I've done it. It's great. So I'd highly recommend that. But it's cool. I'm a huge proponent of getting kids on the ODR, and it was so much fun. And I think because a lot of times you have practices now, but I think to play a game outside, like think about for adults, how many of you still will play in those pond hockey tournaments? And it's a riot. There's just something about the fresh air when you're playing outside on the pond. It's just different. It just is. Now, I know some of the old barns are super cold, so it feels cold inside, but I don't know. It's just different. You got the sun out, and man, and it's this weekend, as Kylie said, it's almost might be too warm, but that's a cool little wrinkle addition for the U9 kids to get them out and get a game on the outdoor pond. Not just a practice, but an actual game. So that should be a lot of fun. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. We have, hey guys, Bouchard's, it isn't his offensive game at all. It's his defensive game. And he's not getting better at it. That's a huge problem from Bad Nib. Well, actually, when you look at the mistakes that Bouchard's been making this year, it's not from him, making an egregious read in the D zone, losing a battle. It's lately, he has the puck on his stick and he's making an errant pass. To me, and we're seeing it at the offensive blue line, that's resulting in breakaways or 2-on-1s. Right? So it's not his defensive game. I don't feel Bouchard's struggles right now have been egregious in the D zone. It's been his puck moving and how many passes that are getting knocked down, how many times he's fanning on it. And to me, he looks like a guy who right now is fighting the puck and is fighting some confidence issues. Now, it doesn't mean it's all the time, because we still see him like, he had some pretty good shots last night, Ripper, but there are times when he's handling that puck and he's just not as confident. Because when Bouchard is confident on his game all the time, he makes plays that 95% of the defensemen in the league can't make with the puck on their stick. He's just that good with it. But lately, that's where, to me, I'm seeing more issues. I'm not seeing him, getting walked in the defensive zone on a regular basis. I'm not even seeing him, grossly losing battle after battle. It's more his play with the puck. And that's why I think it's fixable. All right. Hey, guys, why is Knobloch and Coffee not holding Bouchard accountable? It's a fair question. I think it's because, well, first of all, the other game was it when there was the errant pass of the blue line but that wasn't on Bouchard. It was a pass. It was a grenade, right? Bounces over stick. They go in on a breakaway. I didn't really blame Bouchard for that one. Now, last night, he had one, maybe two, if my recollection in the second period for sure had one. And they might have had another one in the third. And I think Paul Coffey understands, and keep in mind, it doesn't mean that Paul Coffey's not saying anything to him. Oh, he'll challenge his defenseman. You can ask Ekholm, you can ask Nurse. Coffey's not afraid to challenge you. He's looking at those plays, and it's like, he's a guy who's fighting confidence. Do you sit him down? Maybe. But honestly, when you got Josh Brown as another right defenseman, what are you going to do? Right? You're going to sit Bouchard and you're going to play 5 D-men? Right? Like, I don't think that's what they're going to do. They're going to say, hey, let's try to help you play through it. But if you've noticed, Nurse and Kulak are playing more minutes 5-on-5. And so there has been a reduction in his minutes. It's not a benching. I know a benching's pretty easily noticeable, but the players know. Trust me. They know when you're playing 18 minutes or you're playing 21. Trust me, they know. And we've seen a reduction in Bouchard. Nurse and Kulak that moved up, right? Like, you're not going to, what D pairs are you going to change? Like, are you going to suddenly say, Emberson, you're going to go from 13 minutes to 19? Like, I'm not sure that's the right answer either. But you're seeing Nurse and Kulak take more minutes. And you've just seen a little bit of a reduction in Bouchard's minutes 5-on-5. And he's not on the penalty kill. So I think I have seen them reduce it. They just haven't been like a stapling to the bench. And I don't see it. Hey, Gregor, Bouchard's replaceable. Why we're not talking about it? You think it's easy to replace him? Rage Texter B? Honestly? You can argue any player is replaceable. How easy are they replaceable? Can you list me off the offensive defenseman that you can just go snatch? No problem. I get the frustration with Bouchard. I understand it. He's not playing to the level he is. But I'm telling you, you should be cheering for this, in fact, Oiler fans. If Bouchard was lighting it up, he's going to get 10 mil. You don't really want to make him 10 mil. Have a bad year in a contract and then have 2 really good years. That's what you want. For being bluntly honest, if you're looking at it from a fan base, say, hey, maybe he wakes up for the playoffs, great. Hey, you want him to play better, no question. But you don't want him to be out of this world right now in a contract year. You honestly don't. I know it sounds crazy, but you don't. Because he doesn't have, he's had 1 great year. He's had 2 really good years. He's had a really good start to his career, right? 5th fastest defenseman at 200 points. Pretty good amongst active defensemen. He's had a really good start to his career. I'm not going to go and jump the shark and claim that now he's easily replaceable. I think that's going to be erroneous. He's going to make some plays that frustrate you, no question. But I'm telling you, if you watched other offensive guys around the league, go read online in Colorado this year. They were upset with Makar early on because he was turning the puck over. Offensive guys are going to turn it over. Eventually you want to have way more good plays than bad. And this year, there's not as many good plays from Bouchard as he did last year. That's just not. So, Gregor, why not try and swap Bouchard for Dahlin? Dahlin makes $11.5 million, man. What are you talking about? The Oilers they're not paying him $11.5 million. No chance.
Why is Buffalo doing that?
Probably to free up some cap space, but you're right. He's their captain.
I mean, come on.
Right? He's their captain. So you're claiming that Bouchard isn't good, but you're going to go 1-for-1 for Rasmus Dahlin? You can't have it both ways. You're talking out of both sides of your mouth when you say that. I don't like Bouchard. He's terrible, but trade him for Dahlin straight up. What? It's not going to work that way. But honestly, Rasmus Dahlin, $11.5 million, I think he's overpaid. But I wouldn't, if you think Bouchard's going to get overpaid at $10 million, trust me, Rasmus Dahlin, $11.5, not ideal. Yours, you would look at it, but I'm not. Last year, everybody wanted to throw Darnell Nurse away. Oh, now what's happened? Oh, Darnell Nurse is playing pretty damn straight, isn't he? Playing really good. No one's complaining about him. You can be upset with Bouchard. Don't let your anger blind you to make ridiculous claims that he's easily replaceable and then they should just move him right out. You can say guy's having a tough year. Fair. But his tough year, he still has 30 points. Not awful. He's just making a few more errors than you'd like right now. Coming up after 3 o'clock, we will hear Matt Savoie just named to the AHL All-Star team. And Matt Savoie is really heating up in his first year of pro hockey as a 20-year-old. So we'll talk to him about just that, the evolution, the change. You're living on your own, billets anymore. It's a big change. And it helps when I think you get some offensive guys back from injury, and Hamblin and Lane Peterson. But Savoie himself is creating more, is on a big heater. We'll talk to him. We got the business of sport, Rich Winter. We're also going to be joined by Todd Reynolds today at 4:20, Zach Hyman's agent, of course, a lot of other players. And we'll get into the agent business a little bit with Todd. We got Spec, Susie Morgan, and more. We'll come back. We'll get a little update on the orders after Connor Halley and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change. No overtime charges. Late at night, on the weekends, they don't gouge you. LegacyHeating.ca.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Play night in the NHL. Just 3 games on the schedule after the Flames-Kings game was postponed due to the fires in the Los Angeles area. At 5:30, got the Capitals and the Canucks. Also, Avs in Chicago taking on the Blackhawks. And at 8 o'clock, Utah hosting Florida from Salt Lake City. Seattle Kraken placed 4 Daniel Sprong on waivers today. Sprong 27 in his 9th NHL season, 3rd with the Kraken over 2 separate stints. The Netherlands native has 2 goals, 5 points in 19 games with the Kraken and Canucks this year. In the association, should be a great one tonight as the Cavs host the Thunder, tip off at 5 o'clock. You also have the Raptors in New York taking on the Knicks. Sixers host the Wizards, Pistons in Brooklyn, Pelicans take on the Trailblazers, and it's the Clippers up against the Denver Nuggets. The Edmonton Oil Kings hosting the Saskatoon Blades tonight down at Rogers Place. That'll get going at 7 o'clock. And the AJ Whitecourt takes on Devon. Puck drop 7 o'clock. At JDA plays in Whitecourt and in the PWHL. 2 games at 5:30. Minnesota hosting Boston. And you've got Toronto meeting Montreal in Vancouver. That one gets going at 8 o'clock Mountain Time. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we're joined by Bakersfield Condors Forward and AHL All-Star Matthew Savoie, as well as another edition of 5 Questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
It's Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
They are nice, tasting just so right. You can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle.
90 days? You're telling me I can buy a 2024 or 2025 Buick or GMC from Wolf GMC Buick and make no payments for 90 days? Whoa. And you're telling me there's more? It's the final days of GMC's employee pricing on remaining 2024 Sierra HDs and Yukons? Clearly now is the time to buy a new vehicle. I'm heading to Wolf GMC Buick, corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road. It's mere seconds east of the Anthony Henday.
Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
It's Customer Appreciation Day at Vitality Health Foods. Take 25% off select NACA products like NACA Platinum Nattokinase for heart health, NACA Nutri Probiotic for digestion, and the antioxidant NACA Platinum Quercetin. Customer Appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of each month. Visit vitalityhealthfoods.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the only place to call for heating your home. So when it's time to replace your old furnace, call Legacy. Or for 24-hour repair with no overtime rates. Legacy even heats your shower with hot water tanks. Call Legacy. And with no interest and no payments for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade. Safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need: Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Get ready, Edmonton. The 2025 Quick Card Edmonton Minor Hockey Week is here. Celebrating 61 years of hockey excellence, January 10th to 19th. Witness over 10,000 players from more than 600 teams compete for the top spot in their division. It's one of the biggest minor hockey tournaments in the world. A heartfelt thank you to the volunteers, coaches, refs, and families who make this event possible. Come cheer for the future stars of hockey during Quick Card Edmonton Minor Hockey, proudly sponsored by Sports 1440.
Familiar flavors meet a refreshing new twist at the Varsity. Nestled in White Mud Crossing, the Varsity boasts a delicious menu filled with your favorites, like endless forever fries with every burger, crafted with a unique new touch. Enjoy the welcoming atmosphere you know and love. Now with fresh, locally sourced ingredients and exciting new choices. And the best part is, your wallet will be happy too. Order online at varsityburgers.ca or visit the Varsity today and discover how something new can feel oh so wonderfully familiar.
Feel my temperature rising.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back. Just after 3 o'clock, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Hope you're having an awesome day. The Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game and not only get in the game, but it's Tuesday. And there is one less NHL game. If you missed it, the Flames LA Kings game that was supposed to go has been postponed due to all of the fires in LA right now. So smart decision by the Kings, some bigger things than hockey. But so that game will be rescheduled at a later date. Meanwhile, you can get in at PlayAlberta.ca. Lotto Max, $40 million. Good luck tonight at PlayAlberta.ca. Lots of text flying in, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey, Gregor, Bouchard isn't even producing as an offensive defenseman. If he's not putting up points, he's doing nothing. Take the Homer glasses off. It's sad. So Evan Bouchard, let's just do a quick look at Evan Bouchard, and he's not producing. Okay. He is 7th in the NHL in scoring amongst defensemen. And oh, by the way, he has 8 power play points. You know where he is in even strength points? He's 4th. Again, stop with hyperbole that's simply incorrect. You want to call me a homer, go ahead and call me a homer. Well, then I'll just politely call you an idiot because you're making up false claims. Oh, he's not producing offensively. Yeah, he's 7th most points in the NHL, 4th most at even strength. What are you talking about? Like, dude, you're just flat out wrong. Okay? It makes no sense. We love facts on our show. We don't deal, this isn't politics. We're going to just say whatever, and people are like, oh, I'm going to repeat it. No. We bring facts on the show. Evan Bouchard, fact, struggling more than he should be this year. Fair. I can say that. Bouchard would be the first one to tell you, oh, you don't think Bouchard wants to play better in a contract year? Of course he does. But he's not awful. He's still got 30 points. He still makes some really good plays. He might have the best goal of the year, the goal he scored in Ottawa. He's still a very skilled player. Don't confuse a guy struggling. And his struggles, people wish they could struggle and score 30 points in 40 games. They wish they could. He's still a plus player 5-on-5. Still a plus player in shots everywhere else. He's just made a few more errors than you would like. That's valid. But that doesn't mean you want to just, let's get rid of him now. Stop. The team is good. There's no need to have to find something to complain about that sounds moronic. Oh, let's trade Bouchard. He's easily replaceable. No, he isn't. Stop it. Okay? Evan Bouchard has made a few plays that make you go, okay. Then don't just focus on those. There's still other plays that he makes. And as I've said, this could be a good thing for the Oilers because right now, Bouchard on pace to be a 60-point guy is a much lower cap hit than being an 80-point player. That's just the facts. And it's not hurting the Oilers because last I checked, they got the second best record in the NHL since November 1st. It's not hurting them at all. So I'm not being a homer. I'm being a realist. Hey, Gregor, if the fans ran the team, we would be worse than Buffalo, who give up on players way too early. From Marty. Well said, Marty. It's very true. Hey, boys, my only critique of the Oilers last night is Arvidsson not giving it to 29 for the empty net goal from BG. Yeah, but did you see Leon's reaction? See how happy he was? Trust me, I'd let it go. I thought there might be a give and go, but I think at that point, because early in the year, the Oilers couldn't score into an empty net to save their life. And now suddenly they've scored, 3 games in a row into an empty net. And that's just a sign like, hey, guys, winning's what matters the most. Draisaitl having a 15-point game point streak could be nice. He doesn't care. Not nearly as much as securing a win. Now, it's 3-0. Even if you miss the empty netter there, it's not going to impact you. But I don't have a problem with Arvidsson doing it. And Draisaitl's reaction tells you everything you need to know about what their focus is. I think they're good. Hey, guys, with that being said about Bouchard, and I agree with you, his number might be down. Any idea what they think they'd have to pay for him? Well, honestly, I don't know. And again, it's too early. Like if you're Evan Bouchard's camp, and we'll talk to Rich Winter about that, right? Like the art of the negotiation changes and moves. Last summer, Evan Bouchard's agent's probably calling the Oilers, hey, do you guys want to sign a contract extension right now? My client just came off his best year, the best playoff year we've ever seen for assists in NHL history amongst the defensemen. Of course you would have wanted to sign him if you're his agent. But the Edmonton Oilers like, well, you know what? Well, you know what? Hey, he's an RFA. You know what? They're not going to worry about him. You know what? He could probably file for arbitration. I assume at bare minimum, Bouchard's going to file for arbitration. And the Oilers would easily offer him a qualifying offer anyway, but he'll file for arbitration, I would guess, if they don't have a deal done. But even now, like, what if Evan Bouchard scores 45 points down the stretch? And it's possible, right? Because the Oilers' power play, what if they actually start getting more power plays? Because their power play is heating up. Right? It's 30% here for the last 18 games. So I wouldn't rule it out that all of a sudden Bouchard could get on a real heater here. So it's like right now, today, I'm sure if you're Stan Bowman, you're probably calling the agent. Hey, do you guys want to talk about a contract extension right now with Evan Bouchard? He's still having a good year. He's just not having a great year. And for a defenseman, now the thing that Bouchard has in his favor, he's still putting up points and time on ice. Those are the two things that get used the most in arbitration. Points, time on ice. They are. Whether you like it or not, they don't look and say, well, even strength points. No, it's points. And he only has 8 power play points this year. He has 22 even strength points, 4th most amongst defensemen. He's still producing, but he doesn't have the total number. So I'd say Bouchard. I always thought 10 was going to be high. I could see an $8 million, 8.5. Now the term is what I'm more interested in. I don't think he's going to go long term at $8 million. But if you're the Edmonton Oilers, I would even look and say, you know what? If we have to do a short-term deal with Evan Bouchard, I would totally do it. Now, it's not going to be like at a discount of $5 million. That's not happening. It's not going to be $6 million. It's going to be more. But if I'm in my Stanley Cup window and I get 2 more years of Evan Bouchard at, not the max of what he maybe can get on a long-term deal, I'd still consider if I was Edmonton. I really would. So I'm not sure what it would be. I think it's going to range, but I always thought 10 was like, 10 was going to be he would have had to match last year's season, which is very hard to do because it was a great year. Phenomenal season. Really hard to do 2 years in a row. Hey, guys, why did no one stand up for Skinner when he got ran? Well, I don't think he got ran. Zadorov had the puck on his stick. He's going to the net, hits the goalie. What did Skinner say? He goes, well, I'm surprised no one went after him because he's, I'm not expecting Evan Bouchard to grab Nikita Zadorov. He would get cold-cocked. What would it prove? Right? What would it prove? I don't even think that was a dirty play. You're allowed to go to the net. Right now, Zadorov, some other guys would cut a little bit higher, but I don't think Zadorov's like, I'm running Stuart Skinner. He's trying to make a play and score a goal there. I don't think that's a dirty play at all. And you saw Josh Brown go up to the glass, but Zadorov, you know what? After that, nothing happened. It wasn't an overly physical game. There wasn't much else going on. I had no issue with it, to be honest, at that time, right? Because Zadorov's not going to fight Brown. And I don't want Brett Kulak, and I don't want Evan Bouchard trying to fight him. Because if you're looking at guys who were on the ice at that time, remember Janmark got tied up. He got hurt actually on that play. So he's down. Bouchard's not doing anything. I don't want Brett Kulak. Zadorov's huge. What are you going to do there? You could go over and slash him. That's just going to negate the power play. Right? Stuart Skinner really at the end of the day wasn't hurt. Right? He was down for a bit, got up, and he didn't take himself out of the game. The concussion spotter took himself out of the game. So I think there's certain plays and certain times. If it's a cheap play, it's different. I didn't really view that as a cheap play. Did you, Connor?
Not overly. I mean, I think Zadorov probably knew he could get away with it. And being who he is, what are you going to do, right? I don't think anybody needed to go fight him. Maybe go talk to him. But again, that's probably a fight you're going to lose. So I wouldn't have minded seeing a little bit of a reaction. But, overall, like you said, Stuart Skinner didn't take himself out of the game. That was done by the eye in the sky making that call. It's hockey. It's a physical game. Those things can happen occasionally. And it didn't carry over. That's kind of the biggest thing for me. We didn't see that, like you said, for the rest of the game. It wasn't them that continued. So I think Zadorov might have known what he was doing there, but I didn't think it was worth the Oilers, like you said, negating their power play. Just go get them where it hurts on the scoreboard.
Hey, guys, I honestly think Bouchard struggling might be a best in disguise with his next contract. Well, 100%, Sam. That's what I've been saying. This is the Oilers have the second best record in the NHL since November 1st. They're 15-3-1 in their last 16 games. And Evan Bouchard he's not awful, people. He's not awful. You don't have to find a negative when you watch the game. He'll make a play that annoys you. Let it go. Right? And then say, okay, well, geez, look at these other good plays he's made. He's still 7th in the league in scoring. He's just not having an out-of-this-world season, which benefits the Edmonton Oilers, right? It benefits them. He's not going to be able to command top dollar because the truth is timing matters in contract negotiation, right? Timing matters. Last year, he had 18 goals. He's on pace for 14 as a defenseman. It's not a huge drop. And so their power play is actually still good. They just don't score as many goals in the power play because they don't get as many power play chances. But their efficiency's there. And he's not getting as many power play points. As I mentioned, he's tied for 4th in even strength points. So Bouchard's not having a terrible year. He's just not going to get super huge money based on his first 40 games. And that could definitely be good. Hey, guys, do you think Kapanen is going to be a regular in the playoff? I kind of like his game. Dan, it's a good question, Dan. A regular. Now, are we assuming everyone's healthy? So if everyone's healthy and they've acquired their 4th line center, so keep that in mind. If the 4th line center comes in, because they don't, right now, Janmark's playing there. And I'll tell you right now, Janmark will play ahead of Kapanen in the playoffs just because of his penalty kill. They love him 5-on-5. He's super responsible defensively. Where I think Kapanen is going to be a guy who he's obviously earned the trust of the coaching staff, which is key, right? He's on your 3rd unit penalty kill. He can make enough plays that if he has to moonlight with the top 6, he can do it. Probably more of a bottom 6 player. I think him and Corey Perry, I could see that then, that spot platooning. You look at Corey Perry, sits out a game. What is he like? That was a great pass to Adam Henrique last night. Right? Perry, drops the gloves against Trent Frederick. Didn't really have to. Like, Perry is such a pro's pro. He's been really good for Edmonton in a lot of small areas. I understand he's not the fastest player. Who cares? Right? Do you know who right now in the NHL has, by the NHL stats, is the slowest skater based on the NHL stats, the fewest bursts of 20 miles an hour in the NHL today, this year in the NHL? Any guesses, Cons?
No, I don't know.
Okay. Because I'm going to tell you, as much as people focus on speed, that's one way to do things. It doesn't mean it's the only way to have success. Alex Ovechkin has had 2 20-mile-an-hour bursts this season in the NHL. Do you know how many goals Alex Ovechkin has? Now, last I checked, does it matter how fast you are? Do you get bonus points for being a fast skater? No, you don't. Alex Ovechkin has 19 goals in 24 games. He has the best goal per game ratio in the NHL and the fewest bursts of 20 miles an hour in the league. Now, he's an older player, but there's different ways to succeed and have success. And if he can't skate, he can't play. Are you sure? All right. Now, Corey Perry doesn't have a one-timer like Alex Ovechkin, but look at Corey Perry. Has there been games where you're just like, man, Corey Perry he can't contribute at all? I don't think so. Corey Perry's got 6 goals. Last year, he had 12 goals in 54 games. He's on pace to score double-digit goals again. He'll step up for team, and he'll step up and fight when need be. He's 39 years of age. He doesn't need to be fighting Trent Frederick, but he's a gamer, and he shows that he's willing to compete all the time. So I think he has value to your team. Right? He has loads of experience. He's played 215 NHL playoff games, for goodness sakes. 215. He's already played 1,350 NHL regular season games. Like, he brings a lot that his lack of speed, he's able, like Corey Perry around the net. Look at his hands. Look at his confidence to make plays. Like, I love watching it because I think at times we get so focused on speed, and like that's the only way to succeed. It isn't. Think the game. Be really good in tight. Be good in certain areas. Corey Perry's never been a burner. He's got 435 NHL goals. I think he passed Bobby Smith last night for all-time scoring. Right, he's up to 918 points now. It's had a great year. Really, for what his age is, what you expect from him, I have no problem on it. We have a lot of texts about Jonathan Toews. It's an interesting one. We'll get to that when we return, and more on the Gregor Show. And Matt Savoie will join us next. Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta? New players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
We've finished construction of our gamma radiation containment facility. Is it up to code? Is it going to be safe?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Testing team reporting. We test your commercial operations using tools like infrared to ensure safe operation. Trust us to prevent potential calamity before it strikes.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Oodle Noodle origins.
In 1864, Francis Oodle took over his dying father's business as a leatherman. He was quite proficient, but his heart was never truly in the trade. After his father's death, Oodle met a cocksure young man named Vladimir Nudel, who was a trailblazer in the popular new art of food boxes. They formed a partnership and aimed to ply their trade in the new world. At Ellis Island, Nudel was renamed David Noodle, and henceforth, the franchise has been known as
Oodle Noodle.
Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Center. Come for Canada's largest trade show, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience. But it doesn't end there. Maximize your brand exposure with Edmonton Expo Center's new cutting-edge feature screens, spanning Western Canada's largest venue space. Captivate an annual audience of over 1 million visitors during iconic events like Pro Rodeo, Disney on Ice, Glow, K-Days, and so much more. To learn more, call 780-660-0514 or visit edmontonexpocenter.com today.
It's Customer Appreciation Day at Vitality Health Foods. Take 25% off select NACA products like NACA Platinum Nattokinase for heart health, NACA Nutri Probiotic for digestion, and the antioxidant NACA Platinum Quercetin. Customer Appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of each month. Visit vitalityhealthfoods.ca.
A premier hockey solution with a clear path for long-term development is proud to be entering its 8th season of independent borderless hockey, featuring provincial and cross-province competition with showcase-style regular season gameplay and a strong commitment to individual skill development. It's an attractive option for those seeking family life balance. The Hockey Super League offers opportunities for both male and female athletes born between 2012 and 2017. Visit hockeysuperleague.com for more information.
A Bedtime Story by Zachary Martin Hyman.
The hockey game's over. The Zamboni sleeps soon. I lay down in comfort, legacy heating my room. Good night to you, furnace, with your hot blower running. Good night to you, air vents, keeping the warm air coming. Good night to my payments that I won't see for 1 year. Good night to my legacy. Bedtime is near.
Warm winter nights. That's how you soothe your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Use promo code Gregor and get 20% off your order all day, every day. Use promo code Gregor before entering your order at papajohns.ca.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$3:28. Welcome back, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you. Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. The Gregor Show is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where, of course, you can get in the game. Remember, today is Lotto Max, $40 million. Good luck. Stay within your limits at PlayAlberta.ca. And we're going to go to the oil report now, brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton. The Volvo winter event is here. You can lease a 2025 XC90 plug-in hybrid from 1.99% and save $4,500 only at volvocarsedmonton.com. As we are joined by a gentleman who's on quite the heater as of late for the Bakersfield Condors. He has 12 points in his last 7 games, and it was just announced that he is going to represent Bakersfield at the American League All-Star game in his first season as a pro hockey player. Matt Savoie joins us. Matt, welcome back to the show, man. How you doing?
Thanks for having me. Good. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm excellent. I'm not on a heater like you are. You're an offensive player. You've been on heaters before, man, but now you're playing pro hockey. I want to get your thoughts coming from the WHL last year. We had a great year. Obviously you guys, had fantastic run in the playoffs, Memorial Cup and everything. Now you turn pro. What has been the hardest adjustment for you that you found the first few months as a pro hockey player?
I think, the biggest adjustment for me coming from junior and, liking to have the puck on my stick, I think it's just the confidence that I had with the puck. And, I've seen a big adjustment in my game just the past probably month and a half or so. Just the willingness to make plays and, wanting it on my stick and, kind of wanting to, have a lot more puck possession. So it's been good. And, the puck's been starting to go in for me. So it's been good. Just want to keep working at it.
And I love the honesty about that, Matt. Like, it's a lot of people think, oh, just going to go pro and everything is going to be great. And you're supposed to have confidence, but then you get in there and you're just like, geez, there's a lot of good players here and they're stronger and they're bigger and everything like that. And you know what? And for any player, like, I don't know when the last time was that, you were even a half a point player, for maybe more than 2 games. It probably maybe never, I would think. So how much of it was a mental battle for you not to lose confidence in your skill?
Yeah, I think at the get-go, I think it was, a lot of a mental battle. Just not giving up pucks too quickly. I think figuring that part out and, just knowing that you have a little bit more time than you think. And I think going over video with our coaches has been really good with that. And, just getting more comfortable with having it on my stick and making plays and, skating with it before getting rid of it. And, just those little details that, have a big effect in the pro game.
Yeah. So, you've obviously gone on a real good heater here and, confidence, I don't care what level you're at. When players get it, we see it here. And, for you, basically since the 18th of December, at least offensively, the points are coming. But I'm assuming you probably were feeling better about your game even before that. The points just weren't coming.
Yeah, for sure. I think, it's a combination of, getting your game to where you want to get to, and then, also producing when you're playing well. So I think, near the middle of November and near the end of it, I thought my game was getting to a good spot and I was starting to generate more. But, you want to get the puck luck as well, and you want to be finishing on your chances. So it's been nice to do that in the last, few weeks here.
Matt Savoie joins us from the Bakersfield Condors, of course. On a real heaters, had 2 3-point games. He's had 3 2-point games in his last 7. And you're playing well. The team's playing well. You get the announcement to go to the All-Star game. I want to talk about the adjustment, Matt, for you as a young guy. You know what? You have billets, and I'm assuming you're living on your own. How is living on your own going and cooking your own meals? How's that adjustment?
It's been definitely an adjustment, but it's been great. I mean, I'm living with a couple Western League guys in Warner and Groob, so I feel really comfortable with them. Just hanging out on a day-to-day basis, it's great, and we cook quite a few meals together, so it's nice, not being solo in that department. And my parents were actually down for Christmas, so my mom left me with quite a few leftovers, which was nice.
Oh, so, nice.
Kind of taking advantage of that right now.
Oh, God. Mom's cooking, man. I'm sure you miss it. So when you get some of it, she stocks up and has nothing better than mom's leftover. That's amazing. You talk about, the young guys you're working with. How about just the fact that your team had some real key injuries? You were playing center for a bit. Now you're back on the wing. Do you feel you're just more comfortable as a winger?
Yeah, I think in the pro game, definitely. Early on, I think I started the same way in junior. I played the wing, most of my first year when I was 15. And then I think just the way juniors, I kind of transitioned into a centerman, wanted to play in the middle more. But, I think as a winger in pro, you still have the ability to, expose the middle of the ice and use your speed and build speed. So I think, since I've gotten back to the wing, I've found a lot of success, especially with, Peterson moving into the middle on my line and still having Kajula there. I think we've, built a lot of chemistry 5-on-5, and, the power play is starting to click as well. So, I think from a production standpoint, I think that's a big part of it. And, I think just looking to keep it rolling and to keep everyone healthy, it's a big part of it.
How much has a guy like Drake Kajula helped you? He's a veteran player in the American League. He did have some time in the NHL for many years, and he got back up this year again. So a great example of perseverance. But what are some of the best things you've learned from him as a teammate and specifically as a line mate this year?
Yeah, I think we played most of the year together, so we've had a lot of dialogue on the ice, and we have a great relationship off the ice too. So he's just a really easy guy to talk to and ask questions about whatever I have. In my mind. And, sometimes it doesn't even take me asking. He just comes up to me and, gives me some information on, specific plays and, little things about the pro game that are really useful. So, I think I've just seen our relationship build really off the ice over the last couple months into a good friendship. And, it really helps with just being comfortable around each other to talk hockey and, just go over those little things.
at the pro game at the American League level, and then it goes up even another ratchet at the NHL level. But guys are in the right position more often than not, Matt. Junior hockey, the high skill guys maybe can get away with some things that all of a sudden you can at the American League level. But as you said, that doesn't mean you still can't make plays. What's some adjustments you've had to make to your game now that you're a pro player?
Yeah, I think the adjustment is just knowing where the time and space is, and it's different from junior. I think in junior you have a lot more touches, and you have the puck on your stick for most of your shift when you're out there. So I think it's just finding ways to get the puck in good spots and arriving at the right time, and continuing to work to get the puck back. I think is a big area where our team has gone a long way in the last probably 3 weeks. Is just our forecheck and getting the puck back, and applying a lot of pressure. So I think, that's a big part of my game and an area of my game that I want to keep working at.
Playing without the puck. As you mentioned, in junior, you'd have the puck. Hey, man, I'm in the game. I'm touching the puck all the time. And it's got to be a transition at first to get used to it. What are some of the things you've learned that help you be a better player away from the puck?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think, like I was kind of saying, arriving at the right time, knowing what spots to get into where you can expose the defense. I think video helps with that. Just going over, how teams play in their defensive zone, their systems, just little ways we can exploit it. And, I think I've done a really good job getting just into little holes where I can get good shots off in the past few weeks. And that's, resulted into, a few of my goals.
Matt Savoie joins us, 24 points now in 29 games in his rookie season in the American League. The Condors are starting to win more games. You're also just getting healthier, right? James Hamlin comes back. You got better. That's two of your top three centers that were out for, much of the season. How much easier do you find that's made it for your team having those two back in the lineup?
Yeah, I think, offensively and defensively, and I mean, in net, we're a really deep team. So, when you get a couple big pieces in the middle back, I think it just adds to that. And we have the ability to, roll four lines and let everyone play and let everyone contribute. And I think it's a lot easier to get into the flow of the game when everyone's involved. And, they're obviously two really big pieces that contribute to our success.
Matt, when early on, and, you weren't producing to the level that you would like. It's not like we talked to your head coach, Colin Chalk, many times. He's like, there's a few that, a little bit, lack of luck where some of the stuff wasn't finishing. But what have you learned about yourself and maybe that you're proud of most, just kind of going through the rookie learning curve in the American League, and now you've come out of it and you're a better player for it? What did you work on, maybe the mental side, that allowed you to be okay with not dominating offensively right away, even though you wanted to?
Yeah, I think mentally in the beginning it was tough, but now that I'm things are starting to go well and things are going in the net for us. I think what I look back on is mentally just having the consistency to do the same things every single day, and kind of just do the exact same things, and not really get tired of it. I think it's easy to shy away when things aren't going well and switch things up, but our motto is kind of beat the drum and just go to work and keep working at it, and it's kind of paid off here.
You mentioned the power play starting to roll. I'm assuming, having Lane Peterson back helps for sure, but what else are you guys doing better, do you feel, on the man advantage?
Yeah, I think we just have so many dangerous options and so many ways we can exploit teams that, I think early in the season, it wasn't as crisp as we wanted it. And, sometimes I think we were forcing plays, myself included, a lot. So, I think we're just making sure plays, and, we have a lot of movement on the power play right now, a lot of different options that we can hit. So, confidence is a big thing with the power play. When you feel good with the puck and you're making plays, it can be lethal, which is good for us right now.
What now? You played against Wayner a few years ago in the Western League, and you know what? He's a real raw, very athletic guy. Unfortunately, he's been banged up a little bit this year. But what have you maybe learned about a guy that you used to play against, but now that you're a teammate, that maybe you appreciate more about his game?
Yeah, I think just how hard he plays, and how physical he is, and the little things that he does right, and just being with him on his team now, seeing how hard he works on and off the ice. It's really something to watch. And, he's a really good player and has a really bright future for sure.
And off of the ice, Matt, what have you been doing for fun? You golfing at all in Bakersfield? What do you do in your off days?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit different with the weather here than it's been in Canada for me the last few years. So definitely golfing on the off days a couple times. And I mean, not doing a whole lot. We've been on the road quite a bit, but definitely like to golf when I get the chance.
How's your golf game during the season right now?
It's up and down. It's not consistent enough, but it's nice to play. I haven't really been able to play in these months ever, so it's definitely pretty cool to get to play in December and January.
Now, when you're in the summertime, like what's your handicap? Do you shoot in the 80s? Or are you a high 70s guy, or what are you?
Yeah, I mean, right around, you kind of nailed it. Low 80s, high 70s. I play quite a bit in the summer, so I probably played 25, 30 rounds this year. So I like to get out on the course in the summer for sure.
What iron is your go-to iron that you're like, okay, if I'm hitting this, I'm hitting the green?
I mean, I like my short game usually. So usually like 100 in with my 58, or I like my wedge too. So anytime I can hit a wedge or anything under 150 is pretty good.
Right now on the Condors, who's the best golfer?
We got some pretty good players. We got a good group that we go with. Cam Wright's pretty good. I think he's probably like a 4 or 5 handicap, and then Lane Peterson's also really good.
All right. So does it get pretty competitive on the course? I know you guys are naturally competitive. Are you playing for like mom's leftovers ever?
No, I don't know if I can ever offer those up, but yeah, it gets a little bit competitive. Sometimes we do little 2v2 matches or whatever, but it's a good time, good way to spend your off day when the weather's nice, and they got some really good courses here, so it's fun. And
when did you find out you're going to the All-Star game? Who told you?
I found out yesterday. Chalker came up to me on the ice and kind of just told me, and then told me to kind of keep it quiet, and then kind of told everyone in front of the team today. So it was a pretty cool moment there.
All right, told you first. I thought he might surprise you in front of the team, but that's awesome. Obviously, your teammates super happy for you to make the NHL All-Star game and your first in your rookie season is a pretty big accomplishment and well deserved. And Matt, continued success. And we hope to see you nearing the point of game threshold here very soon.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
That is Matt Savoie, who has 12 points in his last 7 games, up to 24 now and 29. He is 4th in rookie scoring in the American Hockey League, as 5 points back of the leader Herkowian, who plays for Texas. And then you got Colin Graff, who's got 26 points, and Denton Matejchuk, who actually got into an NHL game the other day. He's got 25, and Savoie and Frank Nazar have 24 points each. He's he's having a really good year. And I know we got a lot of text during that interview. Do you think the Oilers are going to call him up? Now, this is just I haven't asked anybody. I asked him at the start of the year, and my understanding was that they thought this was going to be a whole development year for Matt Savoie in the minors. And I think he's doing everything that they wanted for him. He's producing points now. He's improved away from the puck. We've had Coach Chalk on numerous times talking about Savoie's improvement. And just his confidence. You heard it from him, man. Like, I feel confident now. When I get the puck, I skate with it a little bit more before I move it. I'm making plays. That's what you want from young guys. And Matt Savoie is a 20-year-old rookie. Do I think he's going to be a difference maker in the NHL playoffs for the Oilers? I'd probably guess no. Now, that doesn't mean he can't. There's always a chance. But if I'm the Oilers, and their need to have some youth in the lineup in the future is there for sure, right? Especially, low contracts, all those stuff. But I would look at Matt Savoie and say, man, we want him in the American League all year long. He might get a game, near the end when the Oilers are going to rest some guys, maybe give him as a reward for sure. That's great. But I would look at having Matt Savoie down there playing in the playoffs and being a go-to guy. So then he has a great summer, comes into camp next year and is like, I'm going to compete for a job. That's how I see it with Matt Savoie. He's only 20 years of age. right? Like, we can go through the list of guys that are really good players who are never in the NHL at 20. There's nothing wrong with it. You don't have to rush him whatsoever. The Oilers right now aren't in dire need of needing Matt Savoie right now. And that's a good thing. So I think this is the ideal situation for him. If he can, like, his point production is really good. Now, I don't know if he's going to score 12 points in every 7 games. That'd be amazing. But, if he finishes the season as a point a game player in the American League, I think people don't understand how rare that is. It is hard, especially as a rookie, 20 years old, man. Are you kidding me? That'd be a great year. Quick break. We'll return. We got 5 questions and more on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
They just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients, better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's SPORTS20.
Wow, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
It's Customer Appreciation Day at Vitality Health Foods. Take 25% off select NACA products like NACA Platinum Nattokinase for heart health, NACA Nutri Probiotic for digestion, and the antioxidant NACA Platinum Quercetin. Customer Appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of each month. Visit vitalityhealthfoods.ca.
Get ready, Edmonton. The 2025 Quick Card Edmonton Minor Hockey Week is here. Celebrating 61 years of hockey excellence, January 10th to 19th. Witness over 10,000 players from more than 600 teams compete for the top spot in their division. It's one of the biggest minor hockey tournaments in the world. A heartfelt thank you to the volunteers, coaches, refs, and families who make this event possible. Come cheer for the future stars of hockey during Quick Card Edmonton Minor Hockey, proudly sponsored by Sports 1440.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV. And I'd like to thank all the people who buy new RVs. Buying your RV new is the most generous thing you can do to help your fellow man. Every year, thousands of people just like you go to the RV show or walk into a new RV store, pay full price, take great care of it like you always do, and then eventually sell it to us. And of course, we pay you market value for your used RV.
But that's tens of thousands less than you paid for it.
That's right, Bob. Could be half of what you paid for it when it was new. And it's still in great shape. So who gets the benefit of that reduced value? Our customers, that's who.
No Bull customers never pay full price for an RV because we only buy used.
Right again, Bob. So we'll enjoy the same RV you have now, only we pay like half as much. And it's only possible because you generously decided to pay that higher price when you bought it. So thanks again to all the new RV buyers, and we'll see you in a few years.
And that's No Bull.
NobleRV.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at cantork.com.
He's Alberta's sports authority and lead touchdown winner of his family's backyard flag football games. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Rolling through, busy Wednesday afternoon. I think I said it was Tuesday. Oof. Figure it out. It's Wednesday. Hump day. You're almost 60% through the week already. Fantastic. Because I know this is a tough week, kind of first one back after holidays. You sporadic working, and I'm just like, ooh, it's a tough one. But the good news, it's a lot warmer out today, so it's a little bit easier. When it's minus 25, you're just like, oh. But today, you get a little sunshine. It's nice. Let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick as the Boxing Week blowout continues, as you can save up to 40% off mattresses, $960 off of sectionals, over 25% off bedroom and dining furniture right now at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Gregor. Jeff Skinner, a bit of a polarizing figure in our city over the last couple of games. We've seen him put up 3 points in 3 games. Is there a reason for you to think he could become a contributor and help this team in the playoffs?
It's a good question. Yeah, it's possible. But when I look at Evander Kane, now Evander Kane's a wild card here. Maybe Kane isn't going to be healthy. So if Kane isn't healthy, yeah. Here's the wild card for me. Jeff Skinner's never played in the playoffs. And I don't care. I've seen rookies, we've seen veterans. First time in the playoffs can be tough for a lot of guys. It's a big, like, the game is so much different. And I don't know. Skinner, I'll give him credit. Like I see him trying to adapt his game more. I don't know. I'd be on the low end. I hope I'm wrong, because the guy can shoot, right? He's a one-shot scorer. There's no doubt about that. But is his speed, and I know I talked about Corey Perry, but Corey Perry's a lot greasier kind of game, right? Like Skinner doesn't deflect pucks. That's not his game. So I'm not overly confident, if I'm being honest, sadly.
All right, question. I guess my answer, yeah, I'm not overly confident, but there's always that part of me that thinks, in the past he scored goals. Could it transition into the playoffs? Kind of the unknown. Maybe it could, maybe it won't. But if he doesn't get it going in the regular season, he's not going to get that opportunity. So happy to see him have a little bit of success, although it has only been 3 games. For his sake, for the Oilers' sake, hope it can continue. Question number 2. Who is your top coach of the year candidate right now in the NHL?
Spencer Carberry would be at the top of the list for me. Fantastic job what he's done in Washington. And if I had to pick another coach of the year candidate, and because I don't like just team was bad and now they're okay. Like Washington made the playoffs last year, but like they've been really good. Like no one thought the Caps would be this good. So I would say Hiller in LA is going to get some votes, no question. And I might go with Jared Bednar in Colorado. I think with all the injuries and everything else about that team, I think he's done a pretty good job.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of the thing we always fall into, right? Things you don't expect, teams that surprise you. Dean Evison in Columbus, maybe a little bit of a surprise. I guess Scott Arniel with the Winnipeg Jets, kind of thrown in there in the fashion that he was disappointing last year. Has them playing pretty well. Might throw out there, and just a long shot. If the Montreal Canadiens are for real, it'd be cool to see Martin St. Louis, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Question number 3. If you had your pick of a head coach this NFL offseason, you're, let's just say you're running the Raiders, who would be your top coaching candidate? Because there's Ben Johnson as the coordinator, but then there's also, guys who've been there before, like a Mike Vrabel.
You go first.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've kind of been a little bit more outspoken because I'm not sure if I want to take the risk for a guy that has never done it before. Like Ben Johnson, I think the upside would be there. But I've always liked what Mike Vrabel did with the Tennessee Titans. I think they never had an elite quarterback. Obviously, they had Derrick Henry, one of the best running backs we've ever seen. But I thought he got the most out of his teams and always had them prepared. Even games where you might have thought they shouldn't be in it, they could stay competitive. So I think Mike Vrabel would be the guy who'd be the top of my list.
Yeah, well, it's hard to argue with Vrabel. I'm gonna go. Like, I know Detroit's the hot team, and so everybody's gonna look at them. I wonder. Well, man, when you heard about all the things after the fact, I'm actually gonna go with Cliff Kingsbury. I think lots of guys can learn from the first time. And sometimes, the smart people learn from their mistakes more than they learn from their successes at times. So I'm going to go with Cliff Kingsbury.
All right. Question number 4 this weekend. Which NFL underdog do you think is most likely to pull off the upset?
Well, I'm going to go Washington for sure. They're the 6th seed. I'll say them. Yeah, they're the one I'm probably the most confident by far.
Yeah, kind of crazy, actually. I thought that, Tampa coming in as the 3-point favorite in this one. And then I guess I'll go with the Rams at home. I think Sean McVay's one heck of a coach. They got to get better play to Matthew Stafford for sure. And it's going to be a good matchup, I guess, McVay versus Brian Flores, the Vikings defensive coordinator. But at home, I think that would be one that's possible. But I think I still like the Vikings to squeak it out. Final question for you. It is the birthdays of late legends, Elvis Presley and David Bowie. So we've asked this before. I think I've only said one. Give me your top 3 late musicians you'd like to see perform live if you could.
Ooh, I'd like to see live. Yeah, Elvis Presley. And I guess if we're going with live, that means my dad would be alive then, so that would be sweet. I would take him. I would say Buddy Holly. I'm going to go way back in time. And you know what? I would have probably wanted this. I would have liked to have heard Whitney Houston in person. I think she would, just her voice and her range, that would have been pretty impressive.
Yeah, I was thinking that one as well. If I avoid ones you went with, give me Jimi Hendrix for sure. I guess Michael Jackson as a performer would be a pretty good show. And I'm kind of in a toss up here, but maybe Tupac.
No, like MJ, I thought about. Unfortunately, ever since I watched a documentary on him, I can't do it. But
Bob Marley would be good too.
Oh yeah, not bad at all.
Even like the older guys, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a diehard, but like Otis Redding. You ever hear Otis Redding and it's not a good song? Like it's always good. So that'd be kind of cool too.
Quick break. When we come back, the business of sport. Rich Winter joins us. We are also going to hear from NHL player agent. Well, basically, we're going to have a double dip of player agents coming up in hour number 2. We'll have Rich, of course, for the whole hour, but we're going to be joined by Todd Reynolds, and we'll have some. Maybe we'll get them to do like a live negotiation. No, I'm kidding, but it would be interesting because everybody has different, approaches to negotiate. Rich actually believes he thinks sometimes negotiating contracts is one of the easiest things to do as an agent. So we'll talk about a lot of things, the NCAA changes and how that, the options for youth sport players, for junior players, for American players to call it. So much is changing, and agents have a lot of those guys. And I think sometimes, the agents who they have, the star players, the Zach Hymans, they have a lot of other guys that you're really trying to help, and sometimes working with them, that's the harder job. So we'll talk about all that and more after Connor Halley and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. Get where you need to go this winter with the mid-winter tire clearance. Right now at Fountain Tire, you can save up to 20% off all in-stock winter tires. Premium brands, unbeatable safety, and incredible savings. Check out fountaintire.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
3 games on the ice tonight in the NHL. You got the Canucks and Capitals, Avs in Chicago, and at 8 o'clock, Utah hosting the Florida Panthers. Kings and Flames postponed due to fires in the Los Angeles area. In the association, the Raptors back in action. They'll take on the Knicks, tip-off 5:30. Should be a great one in Cleveland tonight as the 31-4 Cavaliers host the 30-5 Thunder, tip-off 5 o'clock. Elsewhere, Pelicans host the Blazers, Clippers in Denver, and the Bucks taking on the San Antonio Spurs. In the WHL, the Oil Kings will host the Saskatoon Blades down at Rogers Place. That one gets going at 7 o'clock, and the AJ Whitehorse hosting Devon, 7 o'clock there. And PWHL action, 2 games at 5:30, Minnesota hosting Boston. Then we'll have Toronto meeting Montreal in Vancouver. That one starting at 8 o'clock Mountain Time. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, it's another edition of the Business of Sport with longtime player agent Rich Winter. We'll also be joined by the agent of Zach Hyman, Todd Reynolds. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440.
Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
It's Customer Appreciation Day at Vitality Health Foods. Take 25% off select NACA products like NACA Platinum Natokinase for heart health, NACA Nutri Probiotic for digestion, and the antioxidant NACA Platinum Quercetin. Customer Appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of each month. Visit vitalityhealthfoods.ca.
My utility bills are going through the roof. How can I take advantage of the sun and put my lazy roof to work?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Energy team reporting. When you're ready to make your home or business more efficient, Action Electrical has the power to install solar panel systems and EV chargers.
Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta with supercharged skills and strong family values. ActionElectrical.net.
Attention drivers, it's the midwinter tire clearance sale at Fountain Tire. Right now, you can save up to 20% off all in-stock winter tires. That's right, premium brands, unbeatable safety, and incredible savings. But don't wait, this sale ends March 8th. And once they're gone, they're gone. Contact your local Fountain Tire for complete details.
McDonald's presents a hockey showdown like never before. McDavid versus Matthews. There can only be one winner, competing for all the glory and all the prize. The new menu features top shelf plays like the Smoky Quarter Poppy and the Big Mac David, so everybody scores, with even more delicious options like the Spicy Junior Chirpy. Now that calls for a silly Sunday. The Showdown menu, now available at McDonald's.
Get ready, Edmonton. The 2025 Quick Card Edmonton Minor Hockey Week is here. Celebrating 61 years of hockey excellence, January 10th to 19th. Witness over 10,000 players from more than 600 teams compete for the top spot in their division. It's one of the biggest minor hockey tournaments in the world. A heartfelt thank you to the volunteers, coaches, refs, and families who make this event possible. Come cheer for the future stars of hockey during Quick Card Edmonton Minor Hockey, proudly sponsored by Sports 1440.
Cold, icy mornings, frozen windshield, snow in the forecast, and your vehicle won't start. You know what that means, Alberta. Winter is here. Don't get left out of the cold. Head to Napa Auto Parts today to gear up for the frosty months ahead. Winter won't wait, and neither should you. From premium batteries, starters, and alternators to high-quality wiper blades, antifreeze, and snow brushes, Napa Auto Parts has everything you need to get your vehicle winter ready and running. With over 85 locations in Alberta, stop into your local Napa store or visit NapaCanada.com for all your trusted parts, tools, equipment, and automotive needs. That's Napa know-how.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. The team at Old Strathcona have special training dedicated to reducing the impact of cancer care before, during, and after your diagnosis. From lymphedema to the management of fatigue and side effects of chemotherapy and radiation, they can help. Learn more at leadingedgephysio.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 4 o'clock, welcome back. The Wednesday edition of the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. As always, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Alberta's only regulated online gambling website. And tonight, the goal ball jackpot, $14 million at PlayAlberta.ca. It's time now for the business of sports, and we are joined by our co-host who joins us every Wednesday afternoon, longtime NHL player agent Rich Winter joins us. Rich, happy New Year and everything. How was the holidays?
9 grandchildren, lots of sledding. I ate more than I could imagine. I lost 26 pounds the last 3 months to get myself down to my college playing weight, and I put 12 on over Christmas. So
12.
Yeah, man, it's a killer.
Jeez, what were you like? Now, like, what's your go-to thing you couldn't walk away from at Christmas time?
Carbs, candy.
Huh? Well, you know what though? See, Well, you're never that big, but it's good to slim down and get healthier. Now, did you just change your eating habits, or were you walking? Like, are you prancercising? What were you doing?
I did a lot of walking on the treadmill. No, I did a lot of treadmill stuff at 20 degrees, and it's a really good sweat. Kept my upper body going and stuff. Did a lot of walking, but it felt so good. I'll get back to it, but now it's all about what you put in the pie hole, right? I mean, if you put very little in, you're going to probably lose a little weight.
Yeah, no, that's true. That is very true. Now, Todd Reynolds is going to join us today, coming up in about 20 minutes. Longtime NHL agent Zach Hyman's one of his clients, and many others. And we're going to get to with you guys and different thoughts on. We're kind of focused a little bit today just on the whole. Now that we've had some time to digest it, and we're starting to see players sign NCAA and everything like that, and kind of how it's going to go. But before I get to that, I want to go from an agent perspective. And you've talked lots about how at times negotiating the contract might be the easiest part of the job. There's lots of other things to go on, and communication with the player, sometimes with their team and everything else. Now, I know neither one of these guys are your clients, but Pettersson and Miller in Vancouver, it's been an ongoing thing. It's been more public lately. How, supposedly they don't get along and yada, yada. Well, not every player is going to get along with their teammates. They're not all best buddies, right? No. It doesn't really matter. Like, these guys have never sang Kumbaya together, but they each have 100 points laid. It's been fine. But this year it seems to be more, and the organization's really not said anything to temper it. Have you ever, as an agent, had to call up an organization to, hey guys, stuff that's going on here publicly is kind of sewering my client here. You guys got to step up and say something. Does that happen often? Have you ever been in that situation?
Not with two teammates going at each other, but if you remember, Ken Holland, when he was on a while back, mentioned the Dominik Hasek situation. Like, Dom had decided to give half his salary back. He felt bad. He came back. He got injured. He didn't intend to take the Ilitch's money and not perform. And at the end of the day, finally I said to Ken, like, he's getting killed out there. He's not getting paid. Like, somebody's got to step up, because reporters were attacking him for his groin pull. He's, he should be playing through it. He's not the determined kind of guy we thought he was. So eventually we dealt with it. But I think sometimes, you just don't care what reporters say. A lot of people think, that, geez, there's all this out there. I think a lot of athletes just don't really care that much. I don't think teams always pay total attention to it.
Okay.
Depends how the player feels. Maybe you call Elias and he goes like, it's all a bunch of garbage. Like, I don't care. Don't bother with it. So it really depends on the player's personality. And it's probably somewhat different than it's being advertised as anyway.
Has it changed though now because of social media? And you used to have, quote, the media. Well, social media is now everybody, and everybody has an opinion, and it's out there, and there's more falsehood spread on social media now than ever. Now there's some true spread too, don't get me wrong, but there's lots of falsehoods and just in everyday life. Have you found, especially because you have a lot of your clients now, younger ones that have kind of grown up with a phone, right? Yeah. That there's lots of older guys who maybe even at 30, like, well, dude, I didn't really have a phone at 16. I don't care. I can leave my phone at home for 5 days. It doesn't bug me. But for younger ones, it's different. Has it had to change at all in how you deal with clients and teams because of the social media aspect?
Not that much. We get some pushback from teams who don't like the activity of a particular player on social media. But most of my guys don't really aren't that actively involved. Most don't care. Tyler Bertuzzi would rather be fishing than texting. Okay. Zach's not real active, so we haven't really got involved in that. I mean, there's been this perception there's going to be all this opportunity, but there really isn't that much unless you're going to grow your fan base to 5, 6, 7 million. And that's going to take so much work. There's just not enough time. So it's not really been an issue. There's all this talk about we need to educate guys. These guys are pretty savvy. I brought my daughter on to do some marketing for us a while ago, and she's had 3 children. So she's been out of the workforce for 9 years, but she's in her late 20s.
Oh, wow.
She knows more about social media than like our social media person knew.
Yes.
Because they grew up in it. She's talking about, well, do you want the bubbles what do you talking about? Where do the bubbles appear on? Like, what are those? And it's like, and she's improved our website massively compared to the 35, 40-ish olds marketing people were using, because they're just familiar with it. It's actually mind-boggling. Like, I know I post an Instagram post and it's a picture. They post it and it's got like graphics and all kinds of video and music, and I'm like, holy smokes. And they just know this stuff, but it hasn't. I mean, players I think they're just a little bored with it. I mean, they get enough media attention.
Right.
It's surprising sometimes what some players do post. I've got a young player in the American Hockey League. His wife loves to post, pictures of the kids and the family, and surprises me. I mean, I asked one player, we had last week had a baby in Russia, Canadian kid, and I thought, maybe we should post that because that would be, a lot of players are nervous to go to Russia. Yet you've got a young family went over with a pregnant wife, and the Russians seem to survive childbirth, and bingo, another one. And it just gives them the idea that life over there, it isn't really that different. I mean, it's not the front lines in the Ukraine, which is obviously horrific, but so you always have to ask that question. Do we want to venture in that? Because what happens on our end, right? We post this player's baby because we thought it was unique. And then 3 months later, somebody else have a baby and we don't post it. Like, what's going on? We actually posted something the other day to celebrate a player's activities. He goes, well, I appreciate it. I saw it. He must be following us. And he said, but wrong number. I guess this social media guy grabbed, his number from 5 years ago. But, so sometimes they're paying attention.
Yeah. Well, I would think, so do you have to get approval of a client, like, especially I guess if the picture's out there already, that's fine. Right. And because I know there's lots of people that they don't like posting any pictures of their kids, right? They don't. And I know some kids now that are teenagers, they tell their parents, I don't want my face out there, so don't post pictures of me. Right. And that's kind of their right. Mm-hmm. So every player is going to be different, but when it comes to, we've seen some agents will go online and they like to defend, Alan Walsh is probably one of them. He'll go on there. And,
he's probably the only
one, right? It gets on there and rips on people. And, like the Marc-Andre Fleury one is obviously the most memorable that everyone, have you ever now it has to kind of be your personality, number one.
Yeah.
And you've said you've never really been in a situation like that where one of your clients, feels that wrong. But when you've had a client who feels like he's wronged, or maybe he wants a trade, let's go to that one with the trade. You've had clients who want to trade, and lots of times you try to keep it quiet. Do you not? Have you found, is it better to get it out public and leak it, or is it better to keep it quiet when a guy has a trade request?
Well, I think it's better to keep it quiet generally, because you don't want to put the team's general manager that he's playing with in a feeling like you're pressuring. So okay. I have a situation now where a player wants out, not happy. So I've been talking with the general manager and letting him, because I don't really want to facilitate a trade, because one of the things you have to be careful about a trade is you might actually get one, and then it might not be better. Now you're on your second team. Now you're on your third team.
Right.
I mean, there's only so many kicks at the cat, right? And so you work on it. And if you work on it hard, collaboratively, to turn things around where the player is, now the GM feels like, all right.
Yeah.
Okay. At least he's right. Like I thought it was going to work out. I felt he was going to get more ice time. It hasn't. And these guys have been really good about it. So I just don't think you get much benefit if you publicly ask for a trade. It just sullies the player's reputation. I just think it's better for it quietly to, I get this question all the time. I mean, Andrew Mangiapane was traded by the Flames yesterday. Did you guys ask for a trade? No, why? I mean, they're looking for some news, I suspect, but for the most part, the less you can say, the better.
Rich Winter joins us at the Business of Sport. I'm sure you've part of the job is a little bit of a psychologist at times as an agent with your players, right? Like something's going wrong with a guy and get me out of here. I want to get traded right now. Like it's more emotional, right? And I'm sure in your experience, you've learned that, okay, sometimes, guess what? Like certain coaches aren't changing. They get a certain way they look at a player, and it doesn't matter what the player does. He's, I only see his turnovers. I don't see his good plays, and that's just how it is. It's not going to change. When, as an agent, do you find is the right time to say something? Like, is that an art that you've learned as an agent over time, when to get involved and kind of be the one who talks to the manager? Because the player doesn't really want to do it. Or do you recommend the player talk to the coach first before you ever get involved?
Well, a situation I'm dealing with now, I'm having the player and the coach, and I'll eventually get involved, sit down and get clear on what the player wants and what the coach thinks he needs to do that.
Okay.
So
that's going on right now with one of your clients.
That's going on right now. And it was funny because I was talking to the general manager, and then concerned about his ice time, and he gets a goal and assist on 9 minutes. He phoned me back. He says, your player doesn't really need any minutes. So it was funny, but we're working through all that now, and I get involved. The coaches don't generally like talking to agents, but I've developed relationships with them because they understand we want the same thing. Like I've told players, our job isn't to critique the coach. Our job is to understand what he wants, because he holds the keys to your ice time.
Totally.
So I always use the example. I said, if the coach tells you to stand on one leg during the national anthem, what are you doing? See, it doesn't matter if he's right, because that's going to ingratiate you to him. So in this case, we're working through it, partly because we want the general manager to feel like we're making the effort.
Yeah.
And one of the things I'm pointing out to the coach today is like this particular player, unbeknownst to the team, apparently playing him 11 minutes a night, despite the fact he's scored at a pretty high rate at one point, is that he is number one on the team in expected goals, performance over expected goals. He's not very high on expected assists, because when you play on the fourth line, you pass the puck, nothing happens, right? You're on the top line, you get a lot more opportunity. But so you work through that with the coach. GM's really happy that you're trying that. So he gets to the point where he feels like, maybe I owe these guys a trade. I mean, it's not like they came in here and said, I want to trade, give them the bird, and, just went and talked to the press. It's like they made the effort, right?
Right.
So, let's work with them, because sometimes what happens is it doesn't look like there's a spot. It doesn't look like anything's going to happen. Then all of a sudden they've had some collective discussions internally and decided that this particular player isn't getting the opportunity he deserves. They're not complaining that he's not playing well. It's just that he doesn't seem to fit in there.
Right.
And the other thing you mentioned the coach not seeing it. What I've tried to explain to players, there's this experiment done by Harvard by Chris Simon and Daniel Chablis called the Invisible Gorilla Experiment. Heard of that one?
Oh, yes.
So I try and tell players the Invisible Gorilla Experiment, for people who don't know it, is they ask you to watch this video, and they have a group dressed in white, a group dressed in black. They ask you to count the number of times the basketball was passed amongst the white group. And then they ask you how long you count. You say how many times. It's pretty easy. It was 13 times, whatever it was. And then they say, well, how long was the gorilla in the video? And of course, the gorilla walks in, this woman in a gorilla outfit walks in, stands amongst the people in black. But the guy was coached. You were so focused on the white. Half of the Princeton grads never saw that. And it's what happens sometimes is a coach has a perspective, and whether you like it or not, he just can't see it. And you just sometimes have to accept it. My wife always says, when people show you what they think or what they are, believe them.
Yeah. Maya Angelou, buddy, it's the best line ever. When someone shows you who they are the first time, believe them.
Believe them. Maya Angelou, you're right. Yeah.
And so in that, now, have you found in your discussions, because the coach is the one, like, it's not like GMs call down to the coach, play Bob. Right? Like most GMs I've talked to, it's very seldom, right? They're like, now they'll say, if you're not playing a young guy and I can send him to the minors, I'm going to do that. That's usually where they'll jump in, but they're not, they hire the coach to let him coach, and GMs aren't in the room every day. So you can have the opening conversation maybe with the GM, but if you found, Rich, because even sometimes, let's say you talk to, Stan Bowman, right? You're talking to him about, I'll just pick a player, we'll make up a name, Timothy Rogers. And hey, Timothy
Shaq Hyman.
Sure, Shaq Hyman. He thinks that he can do this, this, and this, and these are strengths. But then sometimes it gets lost in translation, even though the GM, well, hey, you know what? We think he can do this, but it's like, it's not the same. Have you found it's better to go directly to the coach, even though you don't do it first, but ultimately you have more success because the coach is the one who is the decision maker on ice time, not the GM?
Well, you don't want to go to the coach first, because
right.
GMs feel sort of a front to that. Usually I'll talk to the GM if I want to talk to the coach. And what I try and do is give them something statistical. Like I put this in front of the team today. You realize with his 9 minutes, he's leading the team in terms of what is expected of him. And the only difference between him getting double the production, he needs double the ice time, right? So you put something in the back of their mind where it's statistic, it's objective. It's not just Rich called.
Right.
He's upset. So and maybe what happens is they look at it and like, maybe we're misusing him. Because I always tell them the story. I have 47 All-Star game appearances of guys who were bought out, waived and cleared, and or never drafted. And in that group, there's one Norris Trophy, 6 Vezinas, 2 MVPs, 3 Conn Smythe trophies, and I think 55 Stanley Cup rings. And so they're aware of some of the success I've had with players over years. And maybe I know more about the player. I should know more about the player than most of them do, unless they've drafted him and had him for 5 or 6 years. So there's a tendency, at least if you put a little objective evidence in front of that, you might cause, I'll get a call every once in a while. We're putting your guy on the first line tonight. Right? Or one time, I think I don't know if I told the story on the show here, but I badgered Stan Bowman with statistics for a whole summer on Michael Roosevelt, who decided that he didn't want to play for anything but a winner because his buddy Hossa had done the same thing. They're good friends.
Right.
So I badgered Stan. It was hit him with statistics. Stan, your guys are wrong. Rosie, yeah, he slowed down a bit, but who cares? He's not a goal line to goal line guy. He steps outside the goal line and he'll tase at center ice as well as anybody in the league. So he phones me and he says, and we got to get Stan on because it's a great story, but when we tell it from both sides, he phones me and said, day before the lockout, he says, we're going to sign Rosie. So we take 1.8. Geez, I would have taken 900, but so we certainly took 1.8. And he tells me to this day that nobody wanted to sign him. He uses that as an example because he said when Duncan Keith got that suspension against LA, they were tied 2-2. Rosie stepped into Duncan's position, played a great game. They win 3-2, go back to Chicago up a game, set it down a game. And he says, I don't think if we don't sign Rosie, we win that Stanley Cup. I still haven't got my even replica Stanley Cup as a result of that good work, but I think it's just learning to push the buttons and figure out, try and understand, well, why does he think this way? What do I need to do to convince him to think otherwise? And then maybe it's talking to the coach. Or, for example, in this particular coach, I happen to know the agent of the coach. So I called him on the weekend.
Okay.
So what do you think? Like, can you talk to him for me? And I like to know what he thinks of the player, because if he comes back to me and says, Rich, he doesn't even think he can play in the league, or he's just really frustrated right now, he's going to get him in. It's just give, he understands. He feels the kid's playing. He's playing well. It'll come. Now that's a different conversation. So you try and get some of that objective information and then use that just for discussions. And you don't get much without honey, right? Like it's just better off to phone and say, look, hey, I want to work with you on this. Like Brizgelov's a good example. I phoned Don Maloney and I felt I had an opportunity to get him traded to the only team that would be able to pay him that year. And it turned out to be true because he gets $55 million. Thomas Vokoun with the same stats got $1.5 million. There wasn't another job. So I said to Don, like, if I can get him traded to Philly, there's so much pressure to sign him after that trade. We're going to make out like banshees. And so Don and I talked about it. And so he ended up getting a third round because he could have waited. I could have waited July 1st. He gets nothing. And who knows what we would have got. So he trades him, he gets a third round pick. And if he signs, he gets another. So Briz signs, gets $55 million. And Don gets 2 picks. So you try and work with guys like because the best deals are the one where GM was thrilled. He got 2/3. You got a lot of money. Next time I come to him, he's going to be open for business. But you want to try and talk to them. I'm like, how do we work together to make this beneficial for both of us? Because look, if I can call a couple teams and talk about the player's background and do anything to support the discussions you're having, you get a second instead of a third. I'm good with that. And it's actually better for us. So if you look at it as an opportunity, it's like every deal, real estate deal, car deal, an NHL player contract, try and make it work for everybody else. The worst thing in the world, in my opinion, for an agent is to have a client grossly overpaid.
Yeah.
Because now he's beat up. He's not happy.
Yeah.
I mean, James Neely is the best example. Or James Neal. He should have stayed in Las Vegas and taken one last year instead of what he did. And sometimes, like a guy underpaid, see, if they're underpaid a little bit, disappointing for me, but player's okay. Overpaid a little bit, we're not trading him.
Yeah.
It's you squeeze this a bit, but we're okay with it. But when he's way overpaid
or way underpaid,
gets me all kinds of phone calls, all kinds of hassle, all kinds of calls from reporters, kids coming home, dad's being picked on at school. I mean, all kinds of issues people don't think about. Now, if he's grossly underpaid, I just get fired. So it's easier, less stress for me, but it's not productive from a business perspective.
Okay. Rich Winter joined us here in the Business Sports. When we return, Todd Reynolds from Ray Sports will join us. And we're going to talk about the changing landscape in hockey and how that changes it from an agent's perspective. Next on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Just when the weather is raising your nosy, someone's got a new menu that's tasty and cozy. What? It's Booster Juice. Now you can warm up and chow down with a savory selection of grilled fresh favorites. Breakfast wraps, chicken wraps, grilled cheese, steak, and chicken paninis. Topped with melty cheese, creamy pesto, spicy chipotle, grilled fresh options made in-house, warm and delicious. Made daily with the finest ingredients. Cozy comfort food at Booster Juice. Download the Booster Rewards app today.
It's Customer Appreciation Day at Vitality Health Foods. Take 25% off select NACA products like NACA Platinum Nattokinase for heart health, NACA Nutri Probiotic for digestion, and the antioxidant NACA Platinum Quercetin. Customer Appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of each month. Visit vitalityhealthfoods.ca.
Do it, do it, do it. Your vehicle is a big investment. Protect it at Hughes Car Wash. We use only clean, fresh water and the highest quality car wash soap. Hughes Car Wash, the car wash pros.
Find us at hughescarwash.com.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta, new players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Attention drivers, it's the Midwinter Tire Clearance Sale at Fountain Tire. Right now, you can save up to 20% off all in-stock winter tires. That's right, premium brands, unbeatable safety, and incredible savings. But don't wait, this sale ends March 8th. And once they're gone, they're gone. Contact your local Fountain Tire for complete details.
It's your last chance to shop Boxing Day deals at the Brick. Start your new year off right and save up to 40% off mattresses, up to $960 off sectionals, up to $600 off big screen televisions, and up to $300 off select kitchen appliances when you buy 3 or more. Plus, pick up a Queen Spring All Eurotop for the price of a twin. Some exclusions apply. See thebrick.com for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Hair Aware with Dr. Vance Elliott.
Hey, Doc, I really want my hair restoration to fly under the radar, but I recently read that men have to shave their heads and go full Lex Luthor before treatment.
The majority of my patients don't require head shaving because we can work around it. I can perform a no-shave FUE transplant or an FUT transplant if we determine that a transplant is necessary. Let's discuss your options.
Trust a world-renowned expert in hair restoration. Book an appointment at drvanceelliott.com today.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. Watch every Oilers game at OTR with $5.25 Molson Canadian, $5 Pink Whitney shots, and 60-cent wings. Plus, play Oilers score and win for your chance to win On the Rocks gift cards. Oilers hockey at OTR. Book your table today. Jasper Ave and 118th.
The Jason Gregor Show. The best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$428. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Rich Winter with you. The business of sports here on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. And we're going to get to our big guest of the day now. Brought to you by the Spruce Grove Saints. And you know what? If you can't get to the Saints next game, remember, for every home game, you can help support the team with their 50/50 online. It's very easy. Just go online to saints5050.com. And we're joined now by a player agent from Rays Sports, former goalie.
Yeah.
Todd Reynolds, of course, many clients, one that Oiler fans know very well, Zach Hyman. Todd, welcome to the show. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Yeah, good to see you, Jason. And when you were talking about your big guest, I thought you were referencing Rich there. And not either one of our pant sizes.
Oh, yeah, it's his 12-point edition there. Yeah, he was actually, people don't know, but Rich was just running laps in West Edmonton Mall before he got on the show here today, just to try to get back to his fighting weight. Todd, you got into the agency business. It's been a while. I know we had a really good conversation when I met you a few months ago. And I want to talk about the change to NCAA. Of course, you know NCAA very well. I haven't played there. And the new rules, it's kind of open now. NCAA people from the U.S., if they want to go to the major junior route, they can now at 16 and 17 and then come back. You even have a client, I think, who's going from U Sports, who's going to go to NCAA. I know it's super early, but you have any idea on how much this is going to change from an agency perspective on younger players and how it's going to work with them going and getting nils and everything else?
Right. I think it's still coming into focus in large part for people like us and the players and their families, Jason. But the landscape has definitely changed. You know, I never thought I'd see the day where current college coaches are going to CHL games to scout.
Yeah.
You know, to recruit. So it's very interesting times out there. I think clearly the initial ramifications or implications are for these 18, 19-year-old players in Tier 2 Junior A that were on track and we're starting to gain a bit of traction, having some conversations with some colleges, and suddenly those colleges are almost forced to pivot and go to watch a player who just is a better player right now. You know, he's had 3 or 4 years of major junior experience under his belt, or even a full CHL career and then a U Sports career, almost, you know, a year or 2 or 3 in U Sports. So we have a player like that we work with who, you know, has essentially 7 years of that kind of hockey under his belt. How on earth do you compete with that if you're a 18-year-old in Tier 2? It's going to be very difficult for those players to be appealing.
So when you look at it, and Rich talked about this a while back, how, you know, like some of the big contracts you sign, that's kind of the easiest part of the job as an agent. It's a lot of times it's working, you know, getting contracts for a guy like Adam Ernie and, you know, some of the lower guys. So as agents, because I think people see the Zach Hymans, you know, they see the McDavids and they're like, oh, being an agent's great. But you have lots of other clients who aren't there yet. Is exciting maybe the wrong word, but this is like a new challenge as an agent where you're going to be working and all of a sudden you had some players who maybe, you know, you're thinking about, geez, maybe they got to go to Europe and try Division II there now, but suddenly they're going to have some NCAA options that in the past were never even a consideration.
Yeah, yes, you're exactly right. It's changed a lot. Of course, if you were a player interested in playing college hockey, you always had to forego the best junior leagues available to you. You couldn't play in them. So there was always a negative. You had to, well, I'm going to have to play in the BCHL or the USHL, et cetera, which is not on par with the CHL. Now, of course, these players that maybe their rights are held by a certain CHL team, and they were, of course, avoiding that because they were going to school. Now they're saying, well, gee, I can go and play for, the Kitchener Rangers, and play at the highest level, and prepare myself to go to school, to go to college, following that. So it's changing the path that these players have. I think had clearly laid out for them for many years now. And it's allowing them, frankly, a better development route.
Rich, you and Todd work together in your agency. And so obviously I'm assuming you guys talk to one another about it, what's going to happen.
Can you send me your number, Todd?
With different players and negotiations, but have you dug in yet to the nil and how we've seen lots of football guys get big deals yet, and I think it's only a matter of time, but we're probably going to start seeing some for hockey players as well. How does that change? And then from an agent perspective, how do you work in the nil world?
Well, we haven't had much exposure to it yet because we don't have that many college players. But I talked to a guy today on a call with the former CEO of the Montreal Canadiens, and we were talking about a different business deal. And he's an alumni of Miami, Ohio.
Right.
They have $100 million to spend on nil rights. Now that's going to filter down to great NHL players. You don't think the next Connor Bedard, if he's paid any attention in junior high, is going to get, a $2 or $3 or $4 million nil right? I never thought we would see the day where potentially a player at 20 or 21 would be better off to play in college because he could make more money than he would make in the NHL. It's going to change things a lot, and it's like we talked about it today, Todd and I, a little bit. And what about the kid who gets a big nil rights deal? And he says, you know what, I don't want to play in Calgary or Buffalo or wherever.
Because I can make $2 million in college.
Yeah, so I'm developing as a player. I'm getting an education. My parents are pretty happy. And you know what? I mean, especially that kid that may not play in the NHL right away. Like
right.
Looking at, they're saying they're going to, the same old garbage. Yeah, you come, you're going to get second line minutes in, half the time it happens, maybe. And so at the end of the day, he has a pretty big lever to say, because what happens that a lot of people don't realize, at the end of his college career, he's an unrestricted free agent at 21 or 22. It's a pretty valuable ticket for a guy who was, pick a centerman drafted by the Edmonton Oilers. Probably the guys that are here might play ahead of him. So they don't want to trade you. They like the asset. They like the depth. They like having all of that, but not working for us. So the college route's going to create a lot of openings because the money issue is going to some degree to disappear. Right. I don't want to go to college, man. They're offering me a signing bonus,
Right.
Now they're offering me a signing bonus, but it's 10% of my nil rights deal. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
So Todd, for you, how much kind of learning, researching on the fly can you even do to prepare yourself for this? Because it's somewhat like the Wild West right now in NCAA, because it's free agency every year. Right. Like you see before, if you would commit to college, okay, you know what? I look at the depth chart. I'm coming there because they got 2 senior centers. They're going to be out, right? They got 1 more year left. So I might be on the third line now, but then I'll be jumping up to the first or second. Well, that's kind of gone. How are you? Because you went through that route, Todd. How do you think that's going to change how you look at which college to go to when there's not nearly the certainty of knowing how much playing time you're going to get from year to year?
It's going to be difficult. You're exactly right. It's going to be very difficult to. I don't even know if the coaches know that, Jason. That there will be players that become available to them that they just frankly didn't expect.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see if we'll see a lot of decommitments coming up here, where Program X committed a player a year or 2 ago. He's a young guy. He's developing. He's 18 or 19. He's in the USHL or somewhere. And the school says, wait a minute. I mean, we can get this, this player from the Western Hockey League who's put up these numbers. That becomes a hockey decision now. So I think the sort of long-standing sort of gentleman's approach to college hockey that did exist for quite a long time, continuity, loyalty, those things are slowly being eroded. Of course, we had the portal changes and transfer changes recently. That's changed the complexion of a program year to year as well. Now we have this. So I think you're going to see a lot more movement. It will be akin to the CHL or pro hockey.
Todd Reynolds, Rich Winter, join us here in the business of sports. And I want to get your thoughts quickly, because there's, the decommit is a thing that, and I think at times it's never been talked about a lot. I know lots of guys who got a college scholarship, and a year in, even a few years ago, boom, it's done, right? Like you're able to just get rid of it. What advice do you give to the parents? Like, how can they protect them? Well, I don't even know if protect's the right word, and it's probably even harder now, but, ensuring that, okay, yeah, you're going to go there for one season. And then, there's the whole education factor, because some courses aren't transferable if you want to live in Canada when you're done. And then you got to end up going back to school to take more things. How much more explaining do you have to do as an agent for the college route of all the possibilities for people? Whereas if they go major junior, you know what happens. You go major junior, you get your guaranteed year of eligibility to go. If you play one game 1 year, that gets you a year of university, et cetera, et cetera. Now, it doesn't guarantee you get to go to the university of your choice, but you'll get your scholarship paid for, or you get the scholarship money. How much educating do you have to do as an agent to the family of players going NCAA?
Right. I think a lot of it is going to be history. And by that, I mean, what is the track record of these programs?
Okay.
Right. I mean, programs are made up of people. They're no different than any other team, pro team, amateur team. What sort of approach do these people take when it comes to commitments? Right? How good is their word? And that's really what families will lean on people like us for is, if we commit to this team at 17, this program at 17, are they going to be good? Are they still going to be there at 19 or 20? If our son is going through a difficult season, he's had an injury, et cetera. So I think that's really important. And that's something that us as family advisors, we have experience dealing with these programs over the years, and we get to know their habits.
That's like in the pro level. Like, I mean, Todd, there's lots of times where a player will ask me, is this a done deal? Like, he hasn't seen the paperwork yet.
Right.
And, if it's Stan Bowman or, Ken Holland or somebody we know quite well, we don't even give it a thought. But,
Right.
I did have a situation where an NHL general manager made a commitment and an offer to my client. The client mulled it over the weekend. I called back to accept it. He laughingly said that it's off the table. And I said, well, it's not off the table. It's only off the table if you gave me a deadline. That's not the way it works. Yeah. He said, it's too bad. Well, it was really too bad because that young man, instead of playing for the New York Islanders, was playing in Russia and died on that plane crash. If that contract gets signed.
Right. Different story.
So that's a very, very dramatic consequence of immorality, but that's what we deal with all the time. I mean, Todd and I we talk about it periodically about, can you trust these guys? Well, for the most part in the NHL, you can,
right?
But you got to keep your head up.
Yeah, I would think so. Now, because we got a text about, Zach Edey, right? Zach Edey was the Canadian guy at Purdue, was great. He wasn't eligible for as much of the nil money because of the U.S. law and his F1 visa status. So our the American players can benefit more from nil. Now there are loopholes, ways to get around it if you can accept the nil money if the work that led to that money was done elsewhere. So there are ways to go around it. But is it safe to say, Todd, that the Canadian players looking to go NCAA have to be aware that the nil money isn't just as easily accessible for them as it will be for American players because of the law?
That's our understanding. But again, Jason, it's so early in the process here. And I think hockey currently anyway is not accessing those sorts of numbers like some of the other sports are. So I guess time will tell.
Well, we had an interesting week this week. We can't talk about some of it because the paperwork's not done. Independently of each other, we had 3 players commit to a single American university, one Todd's clients, one our other agent's clients, and one my client. One a CIS player playing in Prince Edward Island, one playing in the Western Hockey League, and a Russian player. Whoever thought we would be sitting in our office talking about the Russian player, the Canadian player, and the CIS player from the Maritimes all signing with a single university in a day? Because
Division I university.
Division I,
yeah.
It's wasn't even an option 6 months ago.
Yeah, so it changes quickly.
And you should have heard the conversation when I talked to the Russian player about maybe going to college. He was like, well, what is that? Like, what would I do? Like, he doesn't have any idea at all. And I just said to him, I think you got to think of, his name is Max. I said, Max, you got to think about Max at 23 and Max at 53. Like, what's the downside? I explained to him, you would get a degree. He had no idea. He said, so a scholarship, that's not really much. I said, well, it's probably $50,000 to $75,000 a year. It's like, it's going to be a $200,000 to $300,000 real. He's just blown away, so, it was just interesting to go through the dynamics with Max, who had never even thought of university, didn't even know what American universities, like you could list the top 10 universities.
Because you could never come from a European league where you got paid, right? You couldn't come.
But his mom ended up being really happy because at the end of the day, say, Max, at 43, worst thing happens to you, you get hurt in your third year of college. I mean, maybe you're on track for the NHL and all of it looked terrific, but let's say you get hurt. Now you've got an alumni behind you. Didn't know what an alumni was, had to explain that. And they're helping you get a job. Now at 43, you're working at Goldman Sachs. Well, it's Goldman Sachs. So we had to go through it, piece by piece. And it was really a fun experience. This guy's just a marvelous kid. Like he was stuck here for 3 years, couldn't see his family, couldn't go home because of COVID. So he watched the Storage Wars on TV, managed by a couple of bins, and flipped all the stuff in. It made a little money to pay for some of his, entertainment and lifestyle issues and objectives. It's just kind of exciting. I phoned my daughter to tell him because she introduced me to him because her friend was the billet that had him living with him. I just said to him, Max has just got an American college education scholarship. And, that's one where we're all pretty excited, but it was just interesting to walk through it with Max. And he didn't know anything at any level, from Goldman Sachs to the name of the university to what a college is and what do you do there. I mean, he knew it was a school, but like 4 years, how do I stay? Do I go 2 years? Like what's the, I didn't know. He didn't know. So it was really kind of interesting to see that. And then here Todd signed the CIS player who, believe me, had no thought he was going to go to an American university.
Todd, do you think now, having played in NCAA, like you look, CIS guys with a year or two, they're 20, they're 21, like some of these programs, like they want to win, right? And so they don't age doesn't really matter that much to them, does it?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And of course, they're going to be disappointed to be losing those players.
Yeah.
Right, Jason? So, there's just, everyone is affected throughout this, and it's still settling. We don't really know what it's going to look like. For instance, tonight we have a client, his name is Tommy Camaris, making his OHL debut in Brantford tonight. Well, he's a college-bound player. He was playing Tier 2 in the BCHL. When the rules changed, he said, well, I might as well go back home to Ontario. Comes back to Ontario and plays Tier 2 and waits for an opportunity in the OHL. Because now he can play in the OHL and prepare himself better,
right? And
against his peers, his competition, frankly, to then get a scholarship. So he's doing that tonight as a 2006.
Well, and I think the unspoken issue there is, the important issue is, for me, I'm a dad. I got 5 kids. Guess what? That boy's mom got her son to come home. Right? Like the issues, there's going to create a little bit more options, and the options are going to give parents and families more chances to stay together than they ever did. The thing I can't stand about junior hockey is I don't think any young man's going to benefit from leaving home at 15 or 16.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point. Because you take my area in Ontario, there's a lot of kids, obviously, in the Toronto area. They get scholarships at a young age, and they almost in the past have felt forced to leave to go to a quote unquote better Tier 2 league, whether it's BC or the USHL. Now they can, again, play for the London Knights or Owen Sound, Peterborough, someone right in their backyard and live at home or be very close to home. The last point I'll make on this, which is the elephant in the room, is, the academic requirements to get into schools, which a lot of people are not factoring in. And I think it's important if, parents or young players are listening to the show to bear in mind that you still have to qualify academically.
Yeah.
And a lot of these kids that went to the CHL, their focus was hockey, and they weren't concerned necessarily about their educational progression. And they've either timed out, or they don't have the core courses, or they don't have the GPA, the 2.3 average. So they're not prospects. They are hockey wise, but they're not academically. So the system will weed out a number of players as a result of that.
Todd Reynolds joins us, Rich Winter, Jason Gregor here in the Business of Sport. We'll take a quick break, come back with more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
It's getting free all season long. Can you believe it?
Looking for an enjoyable and affordable family night out? The Spruce Grove Saints are excited to introduce their Kids Get In Free program. All kids 12 and under receive free admission for every Saints home game this season. Bring the entire family for action-packed junior hockey at a fraction of the cost. For more information, check out sgsaints.ca.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is On the Rocks. Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
Are you watching the interest rates these days? Of course you are. Paying less interest leaves money in your pocket. That's why St. Albert Dodge is happy to tell you that right now they have 0% financing on virtually all new 2024 models. Hundreds to choose from: Jeep Compass, Wrangler, Grand Cherokee, and Wagoneer, Dodge Durango, and Hornet, Ram 1500, 2500, 3500, all with 0% financing. Why pay interest? Head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
It's Customer Appreciation Day at Vitality Health Foods. Take 25% off select NACA products like NACA Platinum Nattokinase for heart health, NACA Nutri Probiotic for digestion, and the antioxidant NACA Platinum Quercetin. Customer Appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of each month. Visit vitalityhealthfoods.ca.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta? New players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
It's your last chance to shop Boxing Day deals at the Brick. Start the new year off right and save up to 40% off mattresses, up to $960 off sectionals, up to $600 off big screen TVs, and up to $300 off select kitchen appliances when you buy 3 or more. Plus, pick up a queen spring wall Euro top for the price of a twin. Some exclusions apply. See thebrick.com for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Culligan for all your residential water needs. Your local water treatment company, more than just big bottles. Culligan.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$450. Welcome back, Jason Gregor, Rich Winter, Todd Reynolds from Rays Sports joins us, NHL agent, and we were talking about the changes in NCAA and major, junior, and youth sports, and how this whole change now is going to impact all the leagues. It's even going to impact junior A leagues, because they used to have guys who were going directly to college right away, and now some of them will maybe want to go to major, junior. Todd, yourself, you've had a little bit of a change. Of course, your dad was an agent himself, and then you got into it, and you were kind of going solo, and then you merged with Rich to make a change. Tell me kind of about that and what got you interested in the agency world, and what advice you would get to anybody out there who was interested in doing it.
Well, I'll start with, I guess, the advice portion. I think, it's a wonderful, it's very satisfying, Jason, work. You're working with young athletes and their families, you're guiding them, you're keeping them on track, on course, and helping them achieve their life goals, to get to their final destination, whatever that happens to be. And sometimes that's college hockey, sometimes it's major, junior, and of course, most times it's the NHL. So it's very gratifying work. I think the biggest benefit or plus of being in our space in the business, in the hockey business, is you control, to a certain degree, you control your schedule, your calendar, where you're going to live, etc. I mean, just today I was talking to an assistant GM in the NHL, and his family is back home in a different state, and he's commuting. Essentially, he's living far away because he has to be in that NHL city, and that's the reality. And you accept that. But if you don't want to do that, then becoming a manager in hockey is probably the wrong space to try to work in. So, you look at Rich and the success that he's had. He's worked out of Edmonton, right, Rich, your whole career. And he hasn't had to pick up and move every 3, 4, 5, 6 years when you get let go, as everybody does eventually, as we all know in hockey. So it's very transient when you're in management, whereas when you're an agent, I think it's very stable, as long as you keep your clients.
Well, and the other benefit too is what a lot of people don't think about it, and was important to me. I know it's important to you. You've seen Samuel, bring him along with your son in some events. I have 5 kids, Joel, my son, and 4 girls. And I bring them with me all the time, right? Because, as kids are 13, 14, 15, our ability to connect as parents is really challenging, right? Like, well, maybe next week, Dad. They're busy, they're doing things. But when you say, would you like to go to Chicago? We'll stay at the Westin, just a block away from Marion Host's place. We'll go for dinner. We'll do a little shopping. Then we'll fly over to Philadelphia and hang out with the Brizgaloffs. You get them to come along with you. But what happens with all of that is experiences that you would never otherwise had. So if you want a family life, I mean, this is a tough job. It's not easy. But if you can make a go of it, I don't think I'd ever got to the Eastern State Penitentiary unless my daughter dragged me there after I got back from my meetings with the Flyers in Philadelphia and found out that it was the first penitentiary of its time in the world. And good story, Al Capone was there. But more importantly, I spent 3 hours with my daughter wandering through the old Eastern State Penitentiary, and that memory will never disappear. So I think there's a real family orientation that, I really think, I joke about this with some general managers, one in particular, Todd and I know that very, very well. I talked to him. He's got 3 girls, and I just say, buddy, you gotta go home. What are you doing here as a scout? Well, I want to see this guy. And I think hockey people on the other side of the business, they give up way too much, in my opinion, in terms of the real valuable things. And that job's hard. Our job's hard, but the benefits of the flexibility that Todd talked about are priceless.
Todd, the art of negotiating, when Rich has said at times, like the big contract says, a lot of those are pretty easy. What have you learned in negotiating as an agent and how it can benefit your client?
What have I learned? Well, I've learned lots. I guess we touched on it a little earlier in the program, but I've learned to trust some people more than others, Jason.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'd probably start there. I would say that when you have experience in this business, which now I have quite a bit, and Rich has even more, from many, many years and working with several clients over those years, is what might seem like it's never going to get done, oftentimes does get done. And just that patience, that calmness, the fact that a player and family might be stressing or panicking because it's a day or two before a deadline. That's eons in terms of length of time to get something done. Things change very quickly. In real time and get done. People's positions, of course, change both on our side and the teams.
Right.
So I would say, experience is it's a wonderful teacher, and working with players that are more experienced and they've gone through several contract cycles, it's becomes old hat for them as well.
Well, I would say the one I always have this mantra. I like to get the teams to send me an offer. I like to know where they're at first. I think it's a wise move. But And I always tell GMs, not always, but most of the time, you just send me whatever's fair, and I'll just sign it and send it back. Right? Never happened until I get an offer from the Boston Bruins for a young 6th-round pick. And I'm looking at it going, so I call up Don Sweeney. Don, for 25 years, I've been telling GMs, if they send me something that's fair, I'm going to sign it. You sent me something that wasn't that fair for you. Like, I would never even ask for this money. But Don was recognizing that player wasn't a 6th-round pick. He developed as a player, and it just cut to the chase. And I thought, that's very rare, but it was kind of an interesting call to tell Don I was prepared to take about 80% of what he was offering. So we're definitely taking what's on the table. So it's interesting. And I think the negotiating game, Todd, this is it's always frustrating. Just dealing with those guys who start at 1.2 and they know you're going to get to 2.5. It's a nightmare. I love dealing with those guys who come to the table with it's 1.8. And we're like, well, we think it's 1.9. I mean, we're probably getting this deal done. And it just seems to me there's so much energy wasted by the guy who just wants to diddle around. And it's just, it's
like some guys must just want to feel like they win the negotiation, right?
Yeah, and everyone has their own style, I guess, or approach. And that's what Rich is talking about. Some people like to deal creep, just kind of move it along, inch it along, creep the deal along. I call it deal creep.
Okay.
And that's fine. Again, it's a waste of time. Like, instead of starting at the starting point, we could easily start at the midway point and still have to move it. So,
Todd, if I say this, you're going to know who I'm talking about, but I won't say his name. I actually had to bring a player on the phone once. This is the captain of a particular team, and he didn't want to be on the phone with the GM. I said, well, I have a reason, so I just want you to be on. So he goes on the call, and we have a good discussion, and the GM says, I'll call you tomorrow, which is the reason I wanted him on the phone, because I know he's probably not calling back for 3 weeks. So this player called me every day. Like, really? He didn't call today? I said, I told you. The guy just doesn't return phone calls. He does it on his own time.
Wow.
But if you weren't on the phone and I said the GM said he was calling tomorrow, you'd start wondering,
is Rich doing his job?
Well, or is he paying attention?
Yeah.
He and so he I can't believe he said that. Like, it's 2.5 weeks. This is the captain of the team, right? And it's just his style. You know who I'm talking about, right, Doug?
Yeah, I sure do.
So patience is something you've had to learn, I think, at times too, eh, Todd?
Yeah, just patience and being sort of leading emotionally, right,
Okay.
Jason? Like leading, you hear in the game how the team takes on the persona of the coach, and if the coach is panicked behind the bench, everybody's going, oh no, we're in trouble here. So it's just being that calming, reasonable voice. And when players have trust in you and they know that you're honest and that you work hard and that you're doing your job, they give you your space to do it. They trust what you say in terms of your feedback and your thoughts. And ultimately, you get it done. You bridge the gap and these deals get done. But sometimes they just take a little longer than everyone would like.
Todd, great stuff, man. I really appreciate it. We'll have to have you back on again once this NCAA stuff, because I think it's going to take a while to sort everything out to see how it goes from the nil contract, how it benefits other players to others, and who's going from NCAA to youth sport and back and forth, and major, junior, and junior A. It's going to be a real change of the landscape for young hockey players. So.
Well, and Todd, if I don't talk to you before the draft, enjoy the spring.
Okay. Thanks for having me, Jason. It's great to see you again. Rich, I'll see you in 10 minutes, I'm sure.
Yeah. There you go. That is Todd Reynolds from Ray Sports, of course, new partners with Rich and Ray Sports. That's fantastic. Of course, Todd has a background. He played NCAA. That's why I wanted to get him on to talk about that, because he said, here's a guy who goes, man, I never thought I'd even see this. People thought this was never going to happen in hockey, and now it's happened. And it's going to be the Wild West here. I know they've even talked about how in football, they feel like it's jumped the shark. You got so many players in the portal every year now. You got some players playing on their 7th different school in 4 years. Like, it's just.
Well, and I think Tom Brady's got it right. I don't like it because I think it caters to this group of young people who thinks if things are tough, we'll just change them, right?
Yeah.
And the best part of life, and I've seen it with my clients, I've seen it with my children, I've seen it with my friends, is when you fight through the challenges ahead. Unfortunately, I'm going to talk to a friend of mine tonight who, as we speak, is driving from the Valley in California up to Pacific Palisades to see if he has a house still.
Yeah.
And he'll get through it. But those are the types of things that are more traumatic than many of what folks face. But at the end of the day, these kids be able to just pack up and leave because it didn't go well.
Yeah.
Tom Brady became Tom Brady for a reason, because he fought through it. No one thought he was going to play. He had no right to play. And and those guys, they make big careers.
Hey, adversity, man. If adversity is where you can learn so much about yourself, because it's easy to quit. Anybody can quit. I've always said that 1,000 times. It's, the easiest thing to do in sport or in life really is to quit, because anybody can do it and it takes zero talent.
Well,
and
that's why we
ethic.
talked earlier about, like, I want to work it out with the team involved in this particular trade situation first, because the easy answer is, just to add, you might get what you want.
Yeah, it's true. That's very well said. Rich, great stuff, man. We'll chat with you next Wednesday.
Probably be here.
Yeah, there you go. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice. Warm up Booster Juice with their savory selection of grilled fresh food options, breakfast wraps, chicken wraps, grilled cheese, steak paninis, and more. Visit a Booster Juice today or download the Boosters Reward app.
The Sports 1440 update.
Late night in the NHL, 3 games on the schedule. Utah hosting the Panthers at 5:30. Got the Hawks and Avs, as well as the Canucks in Washington. Flames Kings postponed due to weather in the Los Angeles area. Of course, the forest fires going on right now in the association tonight. Raptors taking on the Knicks. That'll get going in about 30 minutes. Also a great one in Cleveland. Cavs hosting the Thunder. Tip-off getting underway shortly here. Also Pistons, Nets, Pelicans, Blazers, the Clippers in Denver, and the Bucks hosting the Spurs. In the WHL, the Edmonton Oil Kings will take on the Saskatoon Blaze tonight down at Rogers Place. Puck drop in that one set for 7 o'clock. Also, AJ Whiteport hosting Devon at 7. And PWHL, it's got 2 games on the schedule at 5:30. Minnesota hosting Boston. And tonight out in Vancouver, Montreal taking on Toronto. That's an 8 p.m. Mountain Time start. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show. We'll talk some Oilers with Mark Spector. Also, look at the NFL with Arif Hassan talks some Minnesota Vikings. This has been a Sports 1440 update. I'm Connor Halley.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
It's Customer Appreciation Day at Vitality Health Foods. Take 25% off select NACA products like NACA Platinum Nattokinase for heart health, NACA Nutri Probiotic for digestion, and the antioxidant NACA Platinum Quercetin. Customer Appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of each month. Visit vitalityhealthfoods.ca.
You don't know what awaits you on the road to come, but with the 2025 XC90 from Volvo of Edmonton, you'll have the versatility to take on whatever life throws at you. The new XC90, a luxurious SUV with seating for up to 7, boasts newly upgraded body and wheel design. It's the perfect choice to drive into the coming year. And right now, you'll save $4,500 and lease from 1.49% on all in-stock 2025 XC90s. Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, 1205 101 Street Southwest.
Some might like to play hide and seek or even that Where's Waldo game. But out of sight, out of mind is never something GS Construction ever says. Yes, what's underground might be out of sight for everyone, but it's never out of mind for GS Construction, because it's not fun and games ensuring Edmonton's underground infrastructure works for you. We take our job very seriously, and even though we may look like we're pretending to be groundhogs, we're really keeping things running smoothly. To find out more, including new job opportunities, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta? New players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
It's your last chance to shop Boxing Day deals at the Brick. Start your new year off right and save up to 40% off mattresses, up to $960 off sectionals, up to $600 off big screen televisions, and up to $300 off select kitchen appliances when you buy 3 or more. Plus, pick up a Queen Springwall Eurotop for the price of a twin. Some exclusions apply. See thebrick.com for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Just when the weather is freezing your nosy, someone's got a new menu that's tasty and cozy. What? It's Booster Juice. Now you can warm up and chow down with a savory selection of grilled fresh favorites. Breakfast wraps, chicken wraps, grilled cheese, steak, and chicken paninis. Topped with melty cheese, creamy pesto, spicy chipotle, grilled fresh options made in-house, warm and delicious. Made daily with the finest ingredients. Cozy comfort food at Booster Juice. Download the Booster Rewards app today.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Cold, icy mornings, frozen windshield, snow in the forecast, and your vehicle won't start. You know what that means, Alberta. Winter is here. Don't get left out in the cold. Head to Napa Auto Parts today to gear up for the frosty months ahead. Winter won't wait, and neither should you. From premium batteries, starters, and alternators to high-quality wiper blades, antifreeze, and snow brushes, Napa Auto Parts has everything you need to get your vehicle winter ready and running. With over 85 locations in Alberta, stop into your local Napa store or visit NapaCanada.com for all your trusted parts, tools, equipment, and automotive needs. That's Napa know-how.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Did you know that Japa offers in-house and on-site service? Rain or shine, Japa Service Department is here for you. Get a quote now at japamachinery.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 5 o'clock, welcome back to the Gregor Show, Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. We got a lot of text line in 833-401-1440 in our email inbox. People enjoy that segment. It's always good to have different topics that, we don't touch upon. We talked a lot in the first 2 hours of the show about the Orders and how great they're playing. And, obviously some people are frustrated about a few small things about Bouchard, but I'd pump the brakes on that. As I said, I honestly think Evan Bouchard having a little bit of a down year. And by the way, it's not that far down. 4th most points amongst even strength amongst defensemen. He's got 7th most points amongst defensemen. He's got 30 points in 40 games. It's not a terrible season. We've seen some giveaways by Bouchard. A lot of them more the offensive blue line. Right. And the thing is, Evan Bouchard's last 2 playoffs showed me how competitive he can be in the playoffs. But I'm telling you, you get paid mainly for your regular season numbers. That's just a fact. And this could benefit the Orders in negotiation because unless he has an unreal second half, he's going to have, he's on pace for about 60 points, it's a good year, but it's a lot less than 80 points. And that's a lot less money for sure. The Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. One less game in the NHL tonight. Of course, they have postponed the LA Kings. They were hosting the Calgary Flames, but due to all the fires in the Palisades, they have delayed that game, which makes perfect sense. Let's get to the Spec Report now, brought to you by GS Construction. And you might be wondering, hey, what are all those holes and trenches in some of the Edmonton area communities? Well, the underground utilities are past their useful life, so they're replacing them. And when they start to fail, it's not good sometimes, as we've seen in Calgary. So be patient, but understand it's a good thing from GS Construction in your neighborhood. As Mark Spector joins us from Pittsburgh, where the Orders did not skate today. Day off after a very convincing victory last night, Spec. That was a performance by the Orders in every aspect. The few times they did give up chances, Stuart Skinner was perfect. Their power play scores, their penalty kills off stuff. They get 2 goals from their bottom 6, both off the stick of Adam Henrique, and they skate away to a pretty convincing 4-0 win.
Yeah, it's one of those games, Jay, where the Edmonton writer, a.k.a. me, writes about how good the Oilers are and how well they're playing and how they just did everything right. And the Boston writer writes about how awful his team is and how low their compete level was, and how bad they were. Probably somewhere in the middle is where the truth lies. I mean, Edmonton was just this side of perfect in that game, as far as I could see. I mean, they were so good, but Boston is going through a tough time. They weren't pushing back that hard. Their forecheck was great. They could, they're bigger and they want to hit. And I don't know what's going on. I looked at the game sheet. They had 42 hits or something. But to me, yeah, I know. To me, Jay, Edmonton moved the puck too fast for them. The puck was gone when they went to make their hits, and they couldn't make them. Edmonton really gave you a textbook example of how a less physical team, a skilled team, beats a more physical team. They just moved the puck so quick, Boston couldn't keep up to it.
Yeah, well, and I saw the hit number, and I'm like, I know people have all been, the Oilers don't hit enough. Why did they have to hit last night? And we all know that in the playoffs they'll be more physical. Obviously, they don't have the most physical team, but I don't think Edmonton really gets pushed out of games at all this year. My God, they're 15-3-1 in their last 19. They're not getting pushed out of any games by any stretch. But I did chuckle at the 50 hits by Boston, and I'm like, what were they? Was if you skate a guy and touch, because I didn't see a lot of hits in that game last night. I don't know about you. You were there.
Well, I was told a little while ago that the NHL has really taken steps to sort of centralize the off-ice officials because those hit numbers are getting used in contract negotiations, right?
Yes.
So there's no chance that Boston hit Edmonton as many. What was the final number? It started with a 4, didn't it?
Yeah, I thought it was 40. I thought it was 43. I'll double check. But it was either way. I was like, come on.
It wasn't. There's no way.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how that's all going. For that reason, I tend not to put a ton of credence. To me, it's the eye test when it comes to hits. Did Boston have more hits than Edmonton? Of course they did, because Edmonton had the puck all night. Did they gain an advantage over the Edmonton Oilers because they were hitting them or pushing them out of the game or forcing Edmonton to make plays they didn't want to make? Absolutely not for a second.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. It wasn't close at all. Now, Spec, the Oilers go into Pittsburgh tomorrow, and they have absolutely dominated the Penguins lately. They're 7-0. They've outscored them 37-9. I want to get your thoughts. Adam Henrique, those are 2 really nice goals he scored last night. And, Henrique has been a pretty consistent scorer in his career, 8-time 20-goal man. I know I talked to him. He was a little disappointed. His snake bit, and he felt he had some chances, didn't bury them. They get at but I thought Adam Henrique's overall game has actually been fine. I haven't seen him making a lot of defensive errors at all. He's on the penalty kill. He helps. But if Adam Henrique gets scoring like he's scoring, all of a sudden there's just another element of this team that gets better.
For sure. And I think Adam Henrique, how old is Adam Henrique right now? Is he 31, 32?
Yeah, 30. I want to say 31, but I'll double check.
Okay, whatever. Adam Henrique is at the very moment in his career where he's going from a top 6 centerman to a bottom 6 centerman. He's a third-line center on this team every day of every.
Actually, he's 34, Spec. Whoa.
Okay, 34. So we're both wrong. Excuse me. But my point is this: guys like him that grow up as top 6 centermen and play in the NHL as top 6 centermen, eventually they hit where he's at right now. They get on a team where the top 2 guys are way better than he is, and everybody knows it, including Adam Henrique. And his job is to be a third-line center, and it takes a while to figure out. Like he said to me earlier this year, he said, I got so caught up in being a defensively sound third-line center, I kind of forgot about offense. And there's a balance, right?
Yeah.
Craig McTavish on the old Edmonton Oilers, he was an awesome face-off man, a killer defensive guy. But, he provided a little offense for you once in a while. And Guy Carbonneau in Dallas, third-line center. Like all the great third-line centers that I can think of. Mike Eka back in 2006, right? John Madden was one of my favorites. Sammy Paulson for the Anaheim Ducks. Those guys, it starts with defense, but there's still some offense. And I think he's just figuring out the role. And I think he's going to finish his career as a really, really good third-line center. And he's just got to figure out the role. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, I could see how, because when you feel you're contributing when you're putting up points, and when you don't, sometimes like, but then if you try to focus too much on defense, then you know what? Hey, well, yeah, I'm not getting scored on, but I'm not contributing. Like I can still contribute. He's a good shot. Like he didn't suddenly lose all of his ability. Obviously, he doesn't play much power play time, so his numbers are going to go down a bit. But he shouldn't, like, he was on. Now he's at least on pace to score 10 goals. But man, like he was on pace to be single digit guy. He's not that. Yeah. Like he should still probably be close to a 15 goal scorer.
Okay, so what do you think about this? The Oilers, to me, have sort of always been a top 6, bottom 6 team. All the best guys go in the top 6 around Draisaitl and McDavid, and then the bottom 6 is the checkers and all of that. With Hyman and Skinner playing next to Henrique, to me, they become a top 9 team. Like that line's got some pop, man. I'm not saying Hyman's going to stay there forever, but certainly Skinner is a 30, 35 goal guy. Henrique has been an offensively strong player, and for now, Hyman's a 40 goal man. Like, do you think the Oilers are maybe sort of tinkering with maybe not having all their guys in the top 6 and maybe being more of a top 9 team? What do you think, Jake?
That's a good question. Well, they have a deeper team, but they're lucky. The Oilers have won their last 3 games. McDavid doesn't have a point 5-on-5. He only has 1 point. And they've never really been in trouble, right? Like, so their team is deeper. Podkolzin scored. Henrique scores 2 goals. Brown was on a heater there for a while. So they have more talent, but they still have the luxury of their top end guys can go nuclear for a while. And that just makes it easier for everybody, right? Like Nugent Hopkins scored goals in 3 consecutive games, which he hadn't done very many times in his career either. So I still think, their third line could probably be a bit more productive to say that they're a 3-line scoring team overall. But when everybody's healthy, like when Kane's back, that gives them another legit top 9 forward for sure. So then it becomes maybe more plausible.
Yeah, I see it like this. Like, it's, for instance, McDavid gets a first-line player in Nugent Hopkins, and then he's got Brown on his right side. No one's going to ever call Brown a top line player in the National Hockey League, but he's a good player. Draisaitl gets Arvidsson, who's a genuine top 6 guy in the NHL. He could be better, but that's what he is. And then he gets Podkolzin, who kind of is, not really a top 6 guy. And that allows you to have a little more offensive punch on your third line. And, maybe having 3 lines coming at you all night long. I'll tell you what, last night, like, the Edmonton kept the puck all night because they had 3 lines of guys. And then, of course, Corey Perry comes out and holds the puck in the offensive zone. But I don't mind it. They're never going to be, listen, Jay, the Oilers are never going to have that bottom 6 that big guys that punish you. They're never going to have Vegas's 4th line, right? That comes out and beats the crap out of you. They're just not going to be that team. They don't have that personnel. I'm not sure this is the bad way to go.
Yeah, I don't even know if they necessarily need it. Like, Florida's 4th line, like, Stenlund was big, but he didn't really hit anybody, right? Like, Lomberg would like to run around, and he was an energy guy. But, you need some guys like Matthew Tkachuk and Bennett. They played big minutes and were physical. So you need some guys who can do it. I don't know, like, Colorado
doesn't have those guys.
Yeah,
have Kane
for sure. Podkolzin's physical right now. He's not as talented, but Podkolzin is a guy. He'll hit anybody, and he's solid. Right. So and the thing is, their 2 best players are far from shrinking violets. McDavid and Draisaitl play in all the traffic. Zach Hyman plays in all the traffic. So even Arvidsson's he's a little POS on the ice sometimes. You saw him sticking guys. Like, he doesn't, for a small guy, he doesn't play scared at all. I think Edmonton, absolutely. I would like them to have one other physical forward, no question. And I think when Kane comes back, that's one. And I would add another one. And I think Stan Bowman wants to do that.
Okay. And, that probably brings us to Zadorov running over Skinner last night and nobody doing anything. I talked to Stan Bowman today for a Q&A that's up on sportsnet.ca right now, and I asked him, what do you think of that? And his answer was, if you were at the game, you saw, our guys, they responded. They said some things to him. They all talked to him, blah, blah, blah. It's not up to me to tell Stan how to think about hockey. He's the general manager of the National Hockey League. But to me, when a guy runs your goalie, talking to him is not good enough for me. I prefer more than just talk. What do you think of that?
Well, first of all, nobody on the ice was going to do anything. Evan Bouchard and Brett Kulak would get pounded, so I don't want them doing it.
Jump on him. He's lying on the ground after he hits Skinner. Jump on him.
I watched that play over and over. Like, to me, a guy's allowed to go to the net, right? I think it's because it's the door off and, he hits him harder. But to me, I see cheap plays. I didn't view that as a cheap play for me. I thought guys go to the net now with reckless abandon. What you want is that defenseman in today's NHL spec cutting down low on the guy and you'd obliterate him at the near goal post. But that the game isn't played that way. But if Zach Hyman, watch how many times Zach Hyman cuts wide and goes to the net and he hits a goalie sometimes. I don't think it's cheap.
I'm not saying I don't care if it's cheap or if it's not cheap or if he was pushed. He wasn't pushed, by the way.
No.
I mean, that to me is the key. He wasn't pushed.
Yeah.
He went deep into the blue paint. He drilled the goaltender, and then he sat on the ice, and everybody skated around, didn't do a damn thing. I'll never tell a National Hockey League player to fight because I'm in the press box. It's not my place. But this was a perfect example where you didn't have to fight because Zadorov was already on the ground, right? Jump on the guy, fall on the guy, and mistakenly put a stick in his face. Like, whatever you do something. And I just thought that, Bouchard's a big, strong man. It wasn't going to be a toe-to-toe fight. Zadorov was lying on his butt on the ice. It was a perfect time to take him on and not have to fight him. And nobody did anything. I didn't like it. I didn't like it one bit. Your goalie shouldn't get slammed like that. Nobody does anything about it. Not in my world.
No. Lastly, I expect Skinner tomorrow and then Pickard on Saturday.
That's a good question. Hey, they're both playing pretty well.
Yeah, but I'm going Skinner against that.
Sure.
I think he's also shut out Pittsburgh his last two starts too, so that's why I'm going with.
Yeah, okay, and I mean he is coming off a very strong game, coming off a shutout. You like to reward a guy. Listen, man, I'll tell you right now, like that Boston game was the toughest game of the trip, and they all won it. They were the better team times 10. So. They've, as you pointed out, they've owned Pittsburgh for a long time. I mean, you got to go out and play. You can't just throw your gloves over the boards here, but I don't care who plays goal. I think Edmonton wins them both. What I'm trying to say.
Yeah, well, Spector 18-5 this season against non-playoff teams. So they've been pretty good. Only Vegas in the West has a better record against non-playoff teams. They have one more win. So the Oilers have been very good. Yeah, they are going good.
It's a good team, man. It's every week here. Jason, it reminds me a little bit more of last year's team that had a bad start and from halfway through November became the best team in the National Hockey League. That's what this team's doing. Will they keep it up? I guess it remains to be seen. But I'm looking at the team. I'm looking at the roster. I'm looking at the guys. I have a hard time seeing how it doesn't happen again. Do you?
Well, we'll see. Spector, I'll give you some homework. Find out what's up with Malkin before game time tomorrow.
Yeah, he's questionable tomorrow, eh?
Yeah, so it's kind of a late signing for that. So we'll see. Awesome, Spec. Enjoy Pittsburgh.
All right, man. Sure will.
There you go. That's Mark Spector, the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. When we come back, some NFL news, and of course the Vikings are supposed to play the Rams, but where's the game going to be played? Due to all the fires, what's the contingency plan? This would not be the first time an NFL playoff game got moved to a neutral site game. We'll talk about it next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients. Better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients. Better pizza. Papa John's. That's Sports20.
In 1973, deep in the basement of an Edmonton family home, an elite team of specialized forces came together to form Action Electrical.
Action Electrical Divisions, assemble!
Projects team reporting.
Service team reporting.
Testing team reporting.
Energy team reporting.
Supercharged with skills in their electrical fields and grounded by strong family values. Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
It's Customer Appreciation Day at Vitality Health Foods. Take 25% off select NACA products like NACA Platinum Natokinase for heart health, NACA Nutri Probiotic for digestion, and the antioxidant NACA Platinum Quercetin. Customer Appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of each month. Visit vitalityhealthfoods.ca.
McDonald's presents a hockey showdown like never before. McDavid versus Matthews. There can only be one winner, competing for all the glory and all the prize. The new menu features top shelf plays like the Smoky Quarter Poppy and the Big Mac David, so everybody scores, with even more delicious options like the Spicy Junior Chirpy. Now that calls for a silly Sunday. The Showdown menu, now available at McDonald's.
Vimy and Donnan Hockey are dedicated to skill development for all hockey players. If you know a student athlete interested in growing as a person and a player, attend the Vimy Open House on January 16th from 6 to 8 p.m. Beginner or experienced, this program nurtures and develops a student athlete's skills in a supportive environment. The Vimy Open House is a great opportunity for prospective student athletes entering grades 7 through 12 to see what Vimy Hockey and all of the other sport academies at Vimy have to offer. Visit vimyridge.epsv.ca for more info.
Looking at the Alberta weather forecast, wild, unpredictable, brutally tough.
When the weather turns tough, Titan Supply doesn't back down. Titan Supply has been protecting workers from conditions like this for 50 years. We stand tall with you against the elements with the industry's best rigging, hauling, and lifting products to get you home safe. Tire chains, wire rope, round slings, chain slings, and a whole lot more. Titan Supply in Edmonton, Grand Prairie, Red Deer, and Calgary. Online at titansupply.ca. Lift, dig, haul.
Stressed over holiday bills? Breathe easy, because with Cross Mitsubishi, you're secure and stress-free for up to 6 months. That's right, you'll make no payments for up to 6 months. Plus, Mitsubishi's 10-year, 160,000-kilometer limited warranty is the best in the industry. So when you're sitting behind the wheel, Cross Mitsubishi is standing behind you. Cross Mitsubishi. Drive your ambition. See Cross Mitsubishi in store for details. 9605 34th Ave and at crossmitsubishi.ca.
Need a solid foundation without the fuss? Richard and Kalina at DCL Pile Driving have your back. Locally owned, they offer straight, driven piles. No screwing around. Serving all of Alberta, DCL Pile Driving gets your foundation ready in hours with minimal ground disturbance. Perfect for tight spaces, whether it's for a deck, grain bins, or RTMs. Tell them the radio sent you and receive a special discounted rate. Call or text 587-322-PILE. DCL Pile Driving. Don't get screwed. Get piles driven.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Can Torque. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at cantorque.com.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Oh, little Prince on the show. I love it. Man, that guy was talented beyond belief. I love it. Welcome back, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X, as always, the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. There is one less game in the National Hockey League tonight because the Kings-Flames game has been postponed due to the fires that are raging right now in the Palisades. So that's... wish everybody the best out there. That's some terrible visuals, and sadly, people in Alberta and Fort McMurray and other places can relate to that because not good at all. So you got the Panthers in Utah. You also have later you have Colorado hosting Avs. I like the Avs. They're on the road against Chicago, and Vancouver taking on Washington in about 12 minutes time. Now, let's get to our football. Actually, before we get to that, quickly, We have it is the kickoff to Edmonton Minor Hockey Week tonight, and we have courtesy of Clint. What is it, Cons? Is it? I think it's a 4-pack of tickets. Yeah, 4-pack of tickets to the Oil Kings game tonight. Sweet game taking on the Blades. If you want to go, text in with your name and email 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. And Cons will pick a lucky winner, and you'll be going to the Oil Kings and the Blades game tonight. Let's get to our football report brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where no interest, no payments for 1 year on your furnace. Stay warm all winter. LegacyHeating.ca. As we are joined by Arif Hassan from Wide Left Football, talking, of course, the Rams game, the Vikings game. We'll talk the Chargers and more. Arif, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
I'm excellent. So obviously, a horrible situation. Real life, obviously, trumps football and everything else. Right now, the NFL put out the release that they are planning to play the game, in LA, but they have the contingency plan to go to Arizona if need be for a neutral site. How much do you think that this? Like Minnesota is a very good team, and the LA players, there might be a pretty big distraction. I don't know if it's friends or family or everything with the Palisades. How much do you think this is going to impact the Rams?
Yeah, no, I think it'll be a problem, obviously, whenever there's kind of a situation that has the ability to impact your friends or family, or if you've already known it impacts your friends or family, it can kind of, push you in directions you don't expect. And so obviously, not great from a football playing perspective. You already covered, there's a very human element of this as well. But when you take a look at this Rams team, that historically under Sean McVay, they've done a very, very good job of finding ways to stay focused, even after they've gone through a fair amount of tumult and off-field stuff. So I expect Sean McVay to handle that very professionally, to be able to find a way to get the players to focus without kind of detracting from how serious those things are. But it's hard to imagine that that's not something that would have some kind of impact on you for sure.
When you look at it just from a pure matchup standpoint, who do you like?
Despite the fact that the Rams have already played the Vikings and beaten the Vikings, I do think that the Vikings are largely the better team. And so I would take the Vikings over the Rams. I think that they're 4.5 point favorites too. So it seems like Vegas agrees. But yeah, I mean, the Vikings are a 14-win team for a reason. Obviously you lose a couple of games. You want to evaluate why those losses have occurred, but they have a much better defense. They've got, a lot of explosive capability on offense. And generally speaking, the Vikings have been able to kind of control a lot of football games in the way that the Rams sometimes haven't.
When you look at Sam Darnold, and I was watching a breakdown of their game last week against Detroit, because if you look at the final score, like, oh my goodness, they got crushed. There was really just 3 throws that normally he makes all year, and they just, I'll give Detroit credit. They rushed him and got him off his game a little bit, and he missed some open receivers, Addison once, and then he had Jefferson on another one. Sam Darnold's shown remarkable ability to bounce back after, subpar performance, especially this season. He has not a lot of them, but anytime he did, he bounced right back. What's your expectations for Darnold? And do you think the Rams, obviously everybody wants to get pressure on a quarterback, but can they emulate what the Lions did?
It would be difficult. The Lions are a very, very blitz-heavy team, and the Rams very much aren't. And the Lions played a surprising and unusual amount of man coverage, which if you watch the Vikings, you don't see that happen a lot because people are pretty scared, I think justifiably so, of Justin Jefferson. I think, obviously credit to Amik Robertson, who was on Justin Jefferson for a good chunk of the game, for playing Jefferson really well, really tightly. I don't know that the Rams have somebody that has the ability to do that, and I think that the next time that happens, because it was kind of unique for the Vikings this year, that the Vikings will have a plan of attack for that. Like you said, credit to the Lions for the way that they put pressure on Sam Darnold, but the Vikings did get into the red zone 4 different times, and generally you can't win games if you allow a team to get into the red zone 4 times in the first half. And so I think that will play out a little bit differently if it occurs again. The Vikings will be a lot more, I think, on their P's and Q's when it comes to red zone performance. They've historically been a pretty good red zone team. This year with Sam Darnold, they've been a pretty good red zone team. And like you said, a couple of missed throws here and there. The Vikings, based off of their historical averages, should have entered, the middle of the third quarter winning 20-10 as opposed to, losing before that touchdown flurry from the Lions late in the game.
Looking at the Chargers, the other team in LA, when you look at them, what's your thoughts on their, like, I think they got a really good chance to win on the road. Houston, they're the home team, not because they're the better team, but because they're in a different division. Are you pretty confident when you look at that matchup that the Chargers can get a win?
Yeah, I do like the Chargers more. I don't know if I called myself confident, but knowing how much that offense has struggled, knowing that Stephon Diggs, is injured, knowing that CJ Stroud, especially in the last 9 games or so, hasn't really, done a lot, along with that Houston defense not keeping pace like they did in the first half of the season, I think the Chargers are just in a much better spot. Harbaugh's turned that team around. That defense is, I think, outstanding. A lot of people are talking about how, some of these great defenses around the league, the Broncos defense, the Vikings defense. The Chargers defense is almost up there. It's a really, really good defense. And they can win in multiple ways, too. They've got a lot of unheralded players, people like Tuli Tuipulotu, who've got the ability to put a ton of pressure on. And when you've got an offensive line like Houston's, I just don't see it happening. And then on the other side of the ball, Justin Herbert is a borderline elite quarterback. Stroud's still kind of figuring things out. Herbert is, doing really great stuff and has been for a couple of years.
Arif Hassan joins us from Wide Left Football. Of course, NFL wildcard weekend is upon us. Saturday, Sunday, 2 games Saturday, 3 on Sunday, and then, of course, 1 on Monday. We talked about, the best underdog chance to win, and we all agree it's Washington. Do you see any other underdog that you like this weekend?
Yeah, I agree that it's Washington. If I was going to pick another one, it might be the Packers. I know that paper, that Eagles team is very good, so I don't want to detract from them. And it does depend on Jordan Love's health, so I don't want to detract from that either. But I do think the Packers have the ability to have a really explosive offense, even without Christian Watson. And I think that defense, especially now that Edgerrin Cooper is a regular part of that rotation, is a lot better than I think a lot of people expected going into the season. The Packers are in the NFC North. I think their record, it doesn't state how good they are, essentially. And I think the Eagles, have benefited a little bit from a little bit of an easier schedule than the Packers have. So I think these teams are a little bit more even than you think. And there is a little bit of a book out on Jalen Hurts, just in terms of his ability to beat the blitz. And so I think the Packers have the ability to take that on. Now, if you ask me to pick the winner, I think it would be the Eagles, but I think the best chance for an underdog to win is probably the Packers.
Yeah, I would probably tend to agree with you on that for sure. I look at the Broncos and, man, I don't see how they can defeat the Bills. The Bills, they've had so many blowouts that Josh Allen's been pulled in games, just to rest quite often, right? So I think he ended up really sitting out 11 quarters of football this year. The Ravens, the Steelers are 10-7, but they have not been good for the last 6 weeks. And I think they go into Baltimore and the Ravens they're going to run all over their defense, right? Henry might have 150 yards in that game.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Those 2 games that you identified, the Broncos, I think they're a really good defense. They're getting that offense working. I just think like you said, Josh Allen is overwhelmingly good. I think that's the primary reason, but it's also a bad matchup. The Broncos are a man coverage, blitz specific team, and the Bills have done a lot of damage against a bunch of different types of defenses, but that is, where their superpower is. When they go up against the blitz, Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the NFL in almost every respect. When they go up against man coverage, Josh Allen does the best in almost every respect. And, the secret weapon that the Broncos have, Patrick Surtain, is really good at eliminating star receivers, but that's not really how the Bills get things done. So that's not going to happen. We saw what happened the last time the Ravens and the Steelers played. I wouldn't expect it to be that much different. I think Russell Wilson had a couple of really great weeks. I think the juice is gone. I think that there's not really much that they can do to keep up with what the Ravens can do offensively. And when they moved Kyle Hamilton defensively back to free safety, that defense turned from a liability into a huge asset. So I think this Ravens team is a lot different than we saw at the beginning of the season.
Oh gosh, yeah. They're and then I just want to get your thoughts on the Chiefs. Which team, if we both agree that the Bills and the Ravens are going to win, so then they'll face off, which could be a heck of a matchup. And then if the Chargers win, they'll take on the Chiefs. So between the Ravens, the Bills, and the Chargers, who do you think has the best chance to dethrone the Chiefs?
Man, that is really tough. I know that, the Josh Allen Bills, they've got, kind of this monkey on their back with regard to the Chiefs. So too with the Ravens, of course. But I can't, and there's a reason that both Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen are MVP candidates. I think whoever wins out of those two deserves it. So don't really want to wade into the debate too much. But to me, right now, I think the best opportunity exists for Josh Allen and the Bills. Again, that Ravens defense is good. It's a lot better than it was at the beginning of the season. But I think that this Bills defense has kind of actualized into one that really can impact the Chiefs, because the Chiefs are not this deep-throwing, explosive team like they used to be. It's one that has to rely on a lot of this underneath stuff, and I think that's where the Bills can win against those kinds of offenses. And so those opportunities exist. Always difficult to bet against Patrick Mahomes, even though this is probably the weakest we've seen. A Patrick Mahomes Chiefs team, the 15-win team is the weakest one we've seen. It's just kind of a ridiculous thing to say. But I think it's that Bills offense, because of how explosive it can be and how it can, catch up.
Yeah. It would be fascinating. It's obviously hard to win an Arrowhead. I get the sense, though, from a lot of people, Arif, that there's a little Chief fatigue, and I understand it. People had it with the Patriots. I get it. They're just like, God, I don't want the Chiefs to win. And like, they went through this season, and they were like 8-9-1. Oh, they're not that good. And you're just like, what do you mean they're not that good? They might not be dominating teams because they didn't have to, right? Like, you don't get bonus points by winning by 14. Sure, it'd be nice, but like, they just went. And I found the Chiefs the last month, it's like they all of a sudden said, okay, we're going to turn things up a little bit, right? Like, and now they're healthy on offense. Like, that to me is, unless a team can get up on them by a lot, when the game's close in the fourth quarter, there's no better team than the Chiefs.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, statistically, that bears out. If you take a look at any team that is down by one score in the fourth quarter, take a look at every quarterback in NFL history who's had that opportunity at least 15 times. I did some work on this back in the summer. The only quarterback to ever be above 50%, to win more than half their games in that circumstance, is Patrick Mahomes. There's no better quarterback to have in that situation than someone like Mahomes, who has extraordinary and supreme situational awareness, who has a really good understanding, not just of what he needs to do, just in terms of clock management and down management, but, where all the players are going to be on the field. If he closes his eyes, he knows exactly where all 21 other players are. I don't think there's any other quarterback that you can feel confident saying that about. And so in those situations where you know precisely what your goal is, you know precisely what you need, Mahomes is better than any other quarterback, going all the way back to like the 1960s in that situation. It is unreal, and I love watching it, and he's maintained that this year. In fact, he got even better at that statistic, despite being already the best one in the NFL at it. So it is always difficult to bet against this Chiefs team. I agree with a lot of people that think that this Chiefs team is a lot less impressive than other Chiefs teams, but we're comparing gold to gold, right? And I think that I'm okay if it's a 14-karat gold ring instead of a 24-karat one, right? And I think that that's kind of what we're dealing with, and we're not remembering that the Chiefs don't play previous versions of themselves. They play the other teams, and for the most part, they are better than these other teams.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. What about in the NFC? Are the Lions the clear-cut team to beat in your eyes? Are they the best team?
Yeah, I think so. We already talked a little bit about how this Eagles team is good, but maybe not great. This Lions team, I do think that their games against the Vikings are a little bit closer than people gave them credit for, but that's not the whole picture. I think all of the stuff that the Lions have done this year, putting up 40 points in random games, being able to put up the defensive performance in the second half of the season that they have, despite the injuries that they had, reformatting what their defense looks like without Aiden Hutchinson entirely. They became the second most blitz-heavy defense in the back half of the season in response to that. Just their adaptiveness, flexibility, and pure talent on offense. I think they are absolutely 100%, even if they didn't have a bye, the favorite to get into the Super Bowl, which would be really great to see because, we haven't seen that with the Lions before. And you love to see franchises kind of achieve things they've never achieved before.
Yeah. Arif, great rundown, man. I appreciate it. Enjoy the weekend.
Thanks for having me. That is
Arif Hassan from Wide Left Football. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you. Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. We'll come back, wrap things up, and a little some fun Oilers stats for you next.
He is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta? New players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies with state-of-the-art motor coaches. We provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation. Our seatbelt-equipped buses have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, contact Ted Nakamura at 780-940-0880 or visit silentrides.ca.
Adventure just doesn't stumble into your life. It roars to life with Riverside Motorsports. Tearing up trails or cruising the open road. Yamaha ATVs, side-by-sides, motorcycles, and dirt bikes deliver the performance you crave. Built for thrills, ready for your next adventure. Yamaha's legendary performance and reliability take you there. Make Mother Nature your playground on a Yamaha from Riverside Motorsports. Located on St. Albert Trail. RideRiverside.com. Riverside Motorsports. What you do for fun is our business.
It's Customer Appreciation Day at Vitality Health Foods. Take 25% off select NACA products like NACA Platinum Nattokinase for heart health, NACA Nutri Probiotic for digestion, and the antioxidant NACA Platinum Quercetin. Customer Appreciation is the first Tuesday and Wednesday of each month. Visit vitalityhealthfoods.ca.
McDonald's presents a hockey showdown like never before. McDavid versus Matthews. There can only be one winner, competing for all the glory and all the prize. The new menu features top shelf plays like the Smoky Quarter Poppy and the Big Mac David, so everybody scores, with even more delicious options like the Spicy Junior Chirpy. Now that calls for a silly Sunday. The Showdown menu, now available at McDonald's.
At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we believe in the wisdom of Patch Adams. Treat a disease, you win, you lose. Treat a person, I guarantee you'll win no matter what the outcome. We don't treat conditions, we treat people. From personalized treatment plans to compassionate care, we're committed to helping you achieve your goal. That's why hands-on techniques, unique technologies, and a commitment to hiring amazing people mixed with friendly, fun neighborhood environments. And ta-da! No, it's not magic. It's about being human. Sometimes being human hurts, but life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Stressed over holiday bills? Breathe easy, because with Cross Mitsubishi, you're secure and stress-free for up to 6 months. That's right, you'll make no payments for up to 6 months. Plus, Mitsubishi's 10-year, 160,000-kilometer limited warranty is the best in the industry. So when you're sitting behind the wheel, Cross Mitsubishi is standing behind you. Cross Mitsubishi. Drive your ambition. See Cross Mitsubishi in store for details. 9605 34th Ave and at crossmitsubishi.ca.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV, and I'd like to thank all the people who buy new RVs. Buying your RV new is the most generous thing you can do to help your fellow man. Every year, thousands of people just like you go to the RV show or walk into a new RV store, pay full price, take great care of it like you always do, and then eventually sell it to us. And of course, we pay you market value for your used RV.
But that's tens of thousands less than you paid for it.
That's right, Bob. Could be half of what you paid for it when it was new. And it's still in great shape. So who gets the benefit of that reduced value? Our customers, that's who.
No Bull customers never pay full price for an RV because we only buy used.
Right again, Bob. So we'll enjoy the same RV you have now, only we pay like half as much. And it's only possible because you generously decided to pay that higher price when you bought it. So thanks again to all the new RV buyers, and we'll see you in a few years.
And that's No Bull.
NobleRV.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by EPCOR. Stormwater ponds in Edmonton are designed to move water and runoff from streets and sidewalks, making them unsafe for winter activities. Instead, head to a community league or city rink that is safe for your family and friends. Think twice and stay off the ice. Learn more at epcor.com/winter safety.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.551, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, as we roll through a busy Wednesday. Lots happen, of course, tomorrow. Oilers in Pittsburgh to take on the Penguins. We'll have a little bit more NFL wildcard preview. I love the playoffs, man. Can't wait. Should be great. Also, down to the semifinals in college football. Cons, who are you? Which team are you and Declan jumping on board this weekend?
Oh, good question. Declan did lose out on his Oregon Ducks. I don't know. I might be. Well, I guess I got to stay with the Longhorns. I got to stick with the SEC, right?
Really?
Yeah, I like the Ohio State.
What about-
Declan?
you're not going with the Independent?
Nah.
Come on, Rudy.
Yeah.
Rudy.
Appreciate
Rudy.
them hooking up the Chargers with Joe Alt, but that's about it for me. I don't know. I'm trying to get a vibe from Declan.
Who are you cheering for?
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. See?
Golden Domers.
Hey, why not? Yeah, I could see Deck being a Rudy fan, right?
Good movie. Yeah, it's classic.
It's a classic movie. Loved it. So it's great. We'll dive into some order numbers about the Penguins, but I'll just tell Order fans as you Order fans should be pretty happy about your team right now. I don't Bouchard's maybe not playing elite level, but like I've said, that's actually a good thing. It's lowering his AAV. Right? You'd much rather have guys a little bit lower than higher. But the Order's 7-0 in their last 7 games against the Penguins. They've outscored them 37-9. Like the games haven't been close. 5-1, 5-2, 6-1, 7-2, 4-0, 4-0. The last 2 games actually have both been shutouts. So the Orders will go into Pittsburgh fairly confident, I would think. And their team, they're playing great right now. Right? Like I don't think there's anybody on that team who's like, oh my God, I haven't contributed anything. They're feeling pretty good overall about their team game. So we'll discuss that. Also, Susie Morgan should join us. Talk a little Broncos. Do they even have a chance? God. What's the line? Is it 10 points in that game, Cons? Might be even more, but man, I could see a lot of double digits and taking the favorites. I think it might be blowout weekend. We'll see. Let's get to the Common of Sports 1440 update brought to you by EUL. Get your power play amped up with EUL, supplying the city of champions in Alberta with quality electrical gear since 1975. EWEL.ca.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Bills 8.5 point favorites in that one. In the NHL tonight, Canucks cap scoreless midway through the first, and the Avs have a 1-0 lead over the Blackhawks later tonight. Utah taking on the Panthers. Kings Flames postponed due to the fires in Los Angeles. Couple games underway in the association. Raptors trailed the Knicks 16-14 in the first. Thunder up on the Cavs 44-41 in the second. PWHL, Boston leads Minnesota 1-0 midway through the first period. Later tonight, out in Vancouver, Toronto taking on Montreal. Long is going at 8 o'clock. And in the dub, the Oil Kings hosting Saskatoon down at Rogers Place. Puck drop 7 o'clock. That'll do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Fox Sports Radio up next. Carius returns tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJ